And I wish I had some intro music, but I don't. It's just me. So, welcome everybody back to Movies, Music, and Mayhem. This is my 12th week doing this. I finally counted. I literally spent time on my calendar checking because I never check anyways. So this is the lucky dozen of my show. I can't believe I've been doing this for 3 months. This is insane. But it is an insane time, which is why we all have to spend as much time with our friends as humanly possible, whether that is 6 feet away, 60 miles away, 6 states away, whatever. But we can all stay very connected through this wonderful thing called the internet. And without much more ado, I would love to introduce you to my 12th and most amazing guest. It is one of my favorite people in the Schmodown. He is hilarious and wonderful and super zip. Eric Zipper. Yay!
Hi, I'm your favorite.
You're my favorite.
That feels good. Thanks for having me.
Very few people, well, people, not dogs, because we all know how I feel about dogs, but there are very few people that I like instantly. I'm like, are they here today? Like whenever I walked into the studio, because like I knew we'd always hang out. I knew we'd always have a few drinks and have a good time and sit there and laugh and make fun of ourselves for not knowing some of the answers. So
exactly. And I'm with you also as far as the dogs go too. I would rank pretty much any dog in existence over myself or pretty much any human. So
yeah,
you're not wrong.
There's very few humans that abide by the canine protocol. Like if you're like all dogs instantly are like my favorite things in the world. Except for that one that Snyder brought that one day. Remember that day when he was playing, I think it was the Odd Couple versus Who's the Boss, and like Snyder brought this dog out with him that he was like,
I don't think I remember that.
And then like Riley brought out Leia, and like the dog that Snyder brought was just a little bit of a shit. And like snapping at Leia, and I'm like, you don't snap at my doggies. It was one of those like the dog was fine, but he was just a little bit of a jerk. So except for that dog, there's all the dogs.
But every other dog.
Yeah, every other dog, and like 1 or 2 human beings, like Zach Levi, what's his face?
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Keanu Reeves.
I mean,
he's so wonderful. He needs to get sainthood. Like, I know everybody jokes about it and like does those drawings with like, the halo, and he was, what was it? The sage in the SpongeBob movie. Like, he's just a guru of all sorts, and I love him.
I would definitely have like a little Keanu Reeves candle that I would like light and like make offerings to Keanu. Like, I would do that.
They have those.
I'm sure they do.
They do. I mean, I've literally seen them. They're the best. With like the hand and the heart. Like, love him. He's so great. What was he just? I just watched something with him in it. Oh no, I just did the John Wick trilogy marathon.
Oh God, I love those movies so much.
They're so beautiful. Like,
they're so pretty.
Like, visually stunning. The stunts are jaw-dropping, and the fact that he like that he's doing them himself and like has worked with that team for months. So like some of those punches are actually punches. People just go through it. Yeah, it's amazing. The colors and but when you watch them all together, you realize like how much shit he goes through in like
a weekend.
Of like a weekend.
Yeah.
It's like 3 days, maybe.
And in those 3 days, he kills like 400 people.
At least. And 1 dog dies. 2 cars get wrecked. Oh God, I cry every time that car gets like dinged. I'm like, why? Stop it. Like, I'm also the asshole that cried when I went and saw the first Fast and Furious movie. And at the end, when he's like revving the engine for the Challenger, I was like, don't do it, Tom, don't do it. And then he like flies through the air and I'm like weeping. They're like, my friends are like, he's gonna be okay. I'm like, it's not him, it's the car. She's so pretty. Like, well,
priorities, right?
I know, right? Well, welcome to the show. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers. I got I'm matching today.
How very perfect. I mean, what else do we have to do other than to like match everything?
Yeah, it's. Have you also experienced that like at the beginning of every conversation right now, anytime someone like goofs and forgets and goes, "Hey, how are you?" That moment of everyone being like, "Ah!" Like, I'm fine.
I mean, I think that I talk to enough people on a regular basis enough to realize, like, to have the like, how are you, how are you question to be like, how are you doing? Aside from all the bullshit that's going on, aside from the fact that the world's
Right.
on fire and that what over 2 million people have been diagnosed with a case of corona, and nothing's slowing it down because everybody insists on not going outside with the mask on, which I just don't understand. Guys, you go outside, I don't care if you're just going to your car, I don't care if you're going to get the mail in front of your house or you're in an apartment complex going and doing your laundry, put a fucking mask on.
Yep, it's not hard.
No, it's not.
It's not hard. And
No.
like, I hate wearing it too. It sucks, but like, it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually surprised that I like, don't get me wrong, I love all the corn beards. Like, my affection
Yeah.
for facial hair on men. It just makes me happy and I want to pet. But like, I can't believe how many men have just like grown out this crazy like bush beard when now we have to wear like the masks. And I'm like, you didn't have a beard
It really
before.
doesn't work with the mask.
It doesn't. But
it's like it gives my beard a weird shape because the mask like creates a weird beard line. It's a whole situation.
We should just get like a bejeweled bottom for it, so you just like wear it and just have like jewels in your beard. It'd be cute.
I'm into that.
I can't believe.
In general, I want like a fancier mask or like a nerdy one or something. I just have like a plain black, like boring ass mask.
Dude, do you follow Joan Sturger on Twitter?
I do. Yeah, she was posting about some at one point. I remember seeing that.
So she hosts a show for AEW for like the top 10 or top 5 events of the week that just happened on Dynamite or Dark, whatever. But she has these masks that are just like bedazzled to look like luchador masks, and they're the most badass things I think I've ever seen. Like,
I love that.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, well,
I love
don't
that.
have any money, but they're beautiful. They're so fantastic. It's either those ones or the ones that like have giant lips on them and you can like pull them open and it looks like a big laughing mouth. I'm down for that.
Oh, that sounds too scary. That sounds terrifying.
I mean,
I'm not sure I'm down with that. Like, you go ahead, but
I think it's comic based enough to where it's funny and not like realistic looking. But I do have a whole bunch that Mama Silvestrini made for me and like sent them to me, like handmade, homemade. Thanks, Mom. Love you. She should be listening. Hi, Mommy. Yeah, my mom loves this show. It's hilarious. Every now and then she'll ask to come on. And be like, can I just hi? I'm like, sure. Like when I told her Ellis was on, she like has this love affection for Ellis, and like I swear to God,
who doesn't?
Run off. I know, but like and he for her, which I'm like, granted, but I'm not calling you dad. Like, it's not how this works. But I have this fear that I'm one day going to get a call from her and she's gonna be like, so I'm in Hawaii. And I'll be like, wait a minute, Ellis, Twitter, son of a bitch. Like, they're just gonna run off together. It's gonna be so adorable. I mean, I'm not against it because he would treat her very nicely and she deserves it. She's a lovely woman. But she makes stuff like that all the time and sends it. So great. Love you,
That's
Mom.
awesome.
How are your parents and family members doing with all of this?
Okay. It's my mom is still working because she works at a hospital. She's a labor and delivery nurse, so her schedule really hasn't changed at all. And my stepdad does construction, and his company is still basically just like they stopped all their contracts with old folks' homes, but everything else is still going. So like their lives haven't changed that much, and I'm just like, okay, I'll just be in my room. Like, I'll be at home. I'll come visit you someday. I've been down there to see them like once and like sit in the backyard 6 feet apart and have lunch, but that's it.
Yeah. I keep threatening my mom to come up because she has like this massive sewing room that is it makes my eye twitch when I see disorganization. And I have a stroke walking into that room, and I'm like, Mom, you stop work at noon. You have the whole day. You literally can't go anywhere else, and you have nothing else to do. Like, let me come up and hang out. And she's like, no, Rachel. I'm like, I've been sequestered since January. Please, I miss you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start guilting it soon. And be like, Mom, I'm coming up.
Yeah, just do it. It's
6 hour drive.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Right now long drives are like kind of weirdly nice. Like it's like just something different than sitting at home,
Yeah.
I did drive down to Orange County and like from a distance like said hello to my dad and my grandma. And the hardest part about dealing with my grandma during all this is she has like the early stages of dementia, and she cannot remember that a pandemic is happening. Like she just keeps forgetting. And so she won't wear her mask, or she'll be like, why aren't you coming to see me? And I'm like, because I don't want you to die.
Yeah. I mean, kind of a bit of a blessing. Yeah. But mostly tragedy. Like if I could forget that this was going on and just be like, oh, I have to stay at home? Okay. And not remember why, that would be actually no, I'd probably like go insane and be like, why do I have to stay in here? I turn into like Coco and just like run around my cage. It would be awful.
Because at least right now we know that it's like we're doing it for a good reason, like there's we're staying inside to save people. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a little insane. Guys, if you have any questions you want to ask me or Zip, go to the Streamlabs. That I can never remember my directions. It's above
I know,
Zip,
I fuck it up every single time.
Yeah, I turn into the Scarecrow from Wizard of Oz. Like, there we go. We just look like we're having like a weird dance party with no music, so that's fun. But yeah,
is that not what we're doing here?
I mean, I always do. I mean, to be fair, I close off every show with Awkward Dance Party, which is so much fun because you have to like do something as it's closing out because I have no intro or outro music, so I just sing and we dance, and it's awkward and wonderful.
Rachel, awkward dance parties are the only kind of dance parties that I know how to do, so I'm in.
It's also kind of a staple of Whiskey Stairwell, if you might say.
It's true.
Whiskey Stairwell. You want to tell the kids about it who don't know about it, because that's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the great thing about it is how self-explanatory it is, because most of the information you need is right there in the name. At Free For All one year, we were drinking whiskey on a stairwell and decided our band name was Whiskey Stairwell, and Whiskey Stairwell forever. That bit will never die.
I did get we didn't get a picture that night, but I did get a picture of 3/4 of Whiskey Stairwell at Collision, or no, Spectacular. I love how Jeannie's like, what is going on? And then like Merle just gives no shits because he's Merle, and he's like, I don't understand what's going on. It's fine. But yeah, that is whiskey in our cups, and we did sit in a stairwell, I'm pretty sure, at one point that night as well. So it's just become kind of a
I like that picture. The three of us are making a full range of facial expressions in that picture. You're looking all serious and tough. I'm looking as confused as I always am, and Winston's just having a good time.
Well, I think you were just confused because I had just handed you whiskey, and I was like, wait, and you're like, why?
What's happening?
Like there's a match going on. I want to go watch it. I'm like, just 5 seconds. Smile. Okay.
Drink whiskey? Okay, if I must.
If that's the payment for the whiskey, I will stand here and look awkward into the lens. Yeah, that was jeez. You can see how sweaty I was because I was running from like all the way upstairs, because I was sitting all the way upstairs with like Video Drew and Sean and Jill, and like running all the way down like the 2.5 flights of stairs to the ground floor, and then run like the 1.5 down to the green room, and then having to go all the way back up in heeled boots. I was like, this was a bad choice.
That was the weirdest building I've ever been in. The like weird bank vault that you had to walk through to get to the bathrooms, the like steep, like every room in that building looked like a set from John Wick. Like I expected some sort of like insane fight sequence to burst out at any moment. It was wild.
It was a little nuts. Yeah, I mean, having traveled through theaters for like 7 years straight, like I've seen weirder buildings, but that was a really weird one to go. Yeah, it was a weird design, but it was also like this. I really liked the stage and I liked the seats. I didn't like being because I was constantly up in the upper tier for that special, and like we couldn't see if people were doing their entrances through the crowd, and we couldn't see anything up there. We're like, what's going on? Like trying to view over without actually falling off, which is difficult
because it was steep. It was really steep.
Yeah, it was. I'm always real scared when I have to go down like a steep incline. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Even in flats, I'm like, this is not good. I am not this coordinated.
I find a way to fuck up walking on a level surface. So when you add in like hazards, it's not gonna go well. Yeah, and also the dressing rooms in that building were the creepiest things I've ever seen. The like way at the bottom, those like subterranean like graffiti dressing. Like, I have so many questions about that place.
Oh, we got a few Streamlabs.
Hey!
Movie Fanobi says, hey, Rachel, glad you kept up your stream. Stay badass, Rach. Eric is a great guy. I'm very happy I don't have to work tomorrow. Spread love and be safe, everyone. Have a great night, Steve. Steve, you are a rock star.
Thank you, Steve.
And not like, Roxy's fake rock stars, like a real one. Prince That Wasn't Promised says, congrats on making the tournament. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that got announced today.
Oh, yeah.
Good luck pulling for you. You guys rock. We'll talk about that in a second. Jeremiah Morris says, hey, guys, so happy I can catch live. Stay strong. You too, guys. Like, this is what we do to keep each other, to keep ourselves sane, to help you guys keep sane. I know that I have started, on top of everything else that I've been watching, I have started watching this YouTuber named Bailey Sarian, and she does this thing called Murder Mystery Mondays, where like she talks about either like a serial killer or like a missing persons case, just something weird and like kind of puppy tiltish about like murders and mysteries and stuff like that while she's putting on her makeup. And it is, I don't know what about it is so entrancing, but I literally cannot stop watching her. She's hilarious, and I want to get her on the show. So guys, tweet at Bailey Sarian. I want to get her on the show for October because why wouldn't you want to put on makeup and talk horror movies with a girl who does it like all the time? Yeah, it just sounds awesome. Have you been doing anything, discovering anything different? Movies, music?
I definitely when quarantine started, like back in like March, April, and Shudder was giving away that free month, I went down like a big horror like wormhole. For the first like 3 or 4 weeks, all I was in the mood to watch was horror. And then I've kind of been back in that zone. I saw The Lodge finally a couple days ago, the one that came out earlier this year with Riley Keough. I never know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but so many letters that I don't understand. But it's by the same folks that made Goodnight Mommy. Did you ever see Goodnight Mommy?
No.
It's fucked up. It's really fucked up.
I am guessing by the title that it involves children.
Yeah, both of their movies involve fucking awful, terrifying children.
See, the worst children, the worst like child-wise I want to go in a movie is probably Brightburn.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty...
So like, because children in horror movies are like my worst fear. Like I watched Children of the Corn when I was like 8 before we went on a trip to Iowa and then drove through cornfields for hours going from family member's house to family member's house, and that was not a good trip for me.
Yeah, is that the horror trope that fucks you up most, is creepy kids?
Pretty much, yeah. And pretty much anything else I can handle horror-wise. Like, I'm not a big fan of Eli Roth, just because I feel like he makes great movies, but like, it's gore for gore's sake. Just like it's like torture porn. It's not for me. Like
it's not in service of anything.
Yeah, like I'm fascinated by the human body, and like I was that weird kid that used to stay up like late night waiting for my dad to get home from work at like 1 o'clock in the morning. But I would watch like TLC used to actually be the learning channel where you would go to learn things about other things. And at night, they would literally put on surgeries. So like one night it would be like a laparoscopic knee surgery, or there was like a hip replacement. One night they did a facelift, which should not have watched that, because don't ever watch a facelift, guys. Ever. It's
and
so
Draco
weird.
puts on surgery stuff sometimes, and I always have to be like, nope.
But like I thought, like I could have been a great surgeon. I just can't cut into people, so I would literally have to have somebody like just put the scalpel into the body and like start the cut.
Oh, you can do the slice.
I can do it. I just can't insert. Like I can't start it. Like I can't. It's so weird. But yet, when people come for me, or for like when people start coming for my friends or my family, whatever, like on Instagram or like Twitter or whatever, I will threaten their lives, and I will. Yeah, no. I will. Yeah. I threaten them bodily harm, because I know I can actually do that, but I can't, like, in good conscience, stab somebody. Apparently,
like, I will cut you
surgery,
depending on the situation.
Yeah. If it's life-saving, I could probably do a tracheotomy, but I would still probably be like, but I could do
it. Throat stuff, like neck injury,
eye stuff. Whenever there's anything in a movie where, like I think it was in John Wick 3, where they like show like the tip of the knife.
Yeah. All the way in.
I legit can't watch that. Like, I can watch you stab somebody, but it was like there, and I was like, nope.
Can you touch your eye, or are you one of those people that can't do it?
I can touch my eye. Like, I have contacts, so I'm constantly like shoving my fingers into my eyeballs. But it's just like needles or glass or anything that should not be in your eye coming into your eye. That's woof.
This might be a gross story, but fuck it. When I was in high school my freshman year, I was that like stereotypical nerd who had chronic everyday nosebleeds, like just every single day. So I had to get my nose cauterized. So they took electricity up my nose and, zapped the nerve ending shut, which is why I can't really smell things anymore. But it didn't work. The anesthesia didn't work. So I could feel the electricity. And that's on top of the fact that to apply the anesthesia, it was a needle that was this long and curved at the end that they stick right fucking here. Awful. Worst thing I've ever, like having a needle go directly into my face wasn't my favorite.
I had my tonsils and adenoids removed when I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school. And in order to go into surgery, they have to like prep you and like put in an IV and everything. So I was like, okay, cool. I hate needles, which is funny because I have like over 250 hours of tattoo work on me. But I realized that my fear is hypodermic needles, and I don't know why. But anything that can take something out or put something into my actual body, I'm just like, that's weird.
Is it the fact that the needle is like hollow and it's like I
just think that it's because it's bigger, and because like it's literally like you're either taking something from me or putting something into me. That like it's a weird control thing, I think. But they went. I'm like 14 or 15 years old. I've been dying to get this surgery done for ages, because I would constantly have like strep throat or like tonsillitis, like literally every month for like 8 years. So I go in, I'm so excited to finally get this done. They're like, great, we're going to put, parents are there. They're like, great, we're going to put in your IV now. So I like hold out my arm for them to put it into the inside of my elbow, and they grab my hand and turn it over. And I'm like, what are you doing? And instantly my fist just like goes into white knuckles. And they're like, you need to relax. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I can't do this. They ended up giving me
back of the hand.
Yeah. Like, you have to be relaxed. Like, if you are stressed out, that's putting, like, there's nothing there except for, like, a very thin layer of skin and then, like, veins. So, like, if you tighten your fist, you're stretching everything so thin, and they can't get the needle into the vein because it's, like, flattened. It makes it very, very, very small. So they were like, okay, we're going to give you, I think it was Percocet. They're like, okay, you're 14, 15. Like, we're going to give you a Percocet. just to relax you. Like the one is like for a kid dose. I'm like, well, we'll see if that works because drugs.
When I had to go back to have my other nostril done, because the anesthesia didn't work, they gave me a bunch of Valium, and I was gone.
Yeah. Well, they were giving me 3 Percocets by accident, and they should not have. And still, my dad had to like force my hand open to like so they could put it in. It was nuts. And then I don't remember anything until I woke up with like it feeling like I just swallowed like just charred glass. Just it was weird. But it was great though. I lost like 20 pounds. Yay, liquid diet.
There you go.
And popsicles. It was the best.
I remember I had like this real fucked up weird stomach thing like 6 or 7 years ago, and all my friends were like, "Wow, you look great. How'd you lose that weight?" And I was like, "I couldn't eat for a month." And they're like, "Oh."
You're like, everything I ate, I shot out. It's form. Yay!
It worked really well.
I didn't lose weight. I'm dehydrated.
Yep.
Were you sick a lot as a kid? Like having to like stay home and stuff like that?
Sometimes, probably yes. Like my immune system is not amazing, and I also milked it though. Like I tried to stay home. If I felt anywhere below 100%, I was dying as far as my parents needed to be concerned, and I needed to stay home. It's like if I woke up and I was like, I feel mostly okay, but I can't go to school. I can't do it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't feel good, Mom.
Yeah. Did you ever go to staying home sick from school movie? Because I watched the same movie every time.
Yeah, I was big on Hook.
Okay.
Hook was my stay-at-home movie. From what I can remember, because like I was like, and most of the times that I was homesick, like I was generally like destroyed. Like I had strep throat or tonsillitis, and it would just like I would be down for the count. There would they would give me the really good amoxicillin with the codeine in it and knock me out. I think my mom asked for that. Love you, mommy. But like I would generally just be like passed out on the couch. Coming in and out of consciousness, but like Hook was my favorite movie to watch as a kid, being homesick, which is why anytime anyone talking to you, Chance, says that it's not a good movie, I'm like, that is the movie of my childhood. I will stab you. How dare you?
I have no particular attachment to Hook. I haven't really seen it since I was a kid, so I'd be curious to see what my reaction would be to it now. But
what's
my go-to stay home? It was, for some reason, Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Fucking loved that movie.
Dude.
I mean, I didn't know who Shane Black was at the time, but it was the beginning of my love of Shane Black. Like, God, that movie's good.
It's so much fun. It's so like I understand like the hate that it gets from like, anybody who's 28 or younger. Like I get it. It wasn't made for your time. It wasn't made for you, but like, come on. Like if you grew up watching that, like in that generation, our generation, it was so amazing. Like it was the first time I think that there was like a genre hopping kind of deal. Like, not genre hopping, but it was more like a, like setting wise, like this guy came out of a comic book and just it's so
like you
weird.
You don't normally see like the movies that are made about the magic of movies aren't usually action movies. So it was this weird fusion of like it was this action film, but it was also about how movies are magical and can change your life. And I was like, this is fucking awesome.
I think I had a very similar feeling towards The Neverending Story. Because I loved to read growing up. Like I could read through, I was reading way above my reading level because I would read so much, and just like, I was so desperate for books that like my dad would bring home like a box of books from his work and just like give them to me just so I had something to read. I read a lot of really weird stuff, but like, I remember seeing The Neverending Story as a kid and being like, that's me. I'm Bastion. Like, I discover, like, I just, immerse myself in these worlds, and then like I go through a crazy depression when they're over because
Yep.
like that's you've lived in this world for so long, and you've loved these characters, and you've cried when they cried, you've laughed when they've laughed, and it just like really like sits in your soul.
Did your parents ever get mad at you also for reading while walking? Because I would read while walking across parking lots or like crossing the street, or like I would be walking around with a book and my mom was like, "You were gonna walk off a fucking cliff. Stop it." And I was like, "I'm fine."
I don't think I was I don't think so. I did get yelled at a lot for doing the under the covers with a flashlight reading. Or what, like knowing my mom was asleep, like I would, wake up and like turn my light on and just sit there and read and read and read. And 2 o'clock, my dad would be going to bed and like knock on my door, and be like, "Rachel, you need to go to sleep." I'm like, "But Dad, I got 2 more chapters." He's like, "Fine, just read the book." He's like, "I know you're going to anyway, so."
There's never a good place to stop. Like,
No!
what are you supposed to?
That's what gets you too. Like with good writers, I remember reading all. Do you know the author Dean Koontz?
Mm-hmm. I've read my fair share of Dean Koontz.
I've read all of his books. Like,
oh wow, that's a lot. That's like 70 books. He's prolific.
Easy. Okay, let me rephrase this. I've read all of his books through like 2003.
Okay.
And then I kept going back and rereading. But like,
sure.
I love the style of his writing. And like, when you find an author like that, like, just give me all of the content. It's like with TV shows or movies or something, like you find that story that like really hits you in the heart, or like you just get so into it that you're just like, I need everything you have. Just give me like, if the show or the movie runs out, give me fanfic. Give me something to like extend this universe. I mean, the fanfic gets a real interesting real quick. But...
yeah. I do feel like every like horror thriller nerd either went through a Dean Koontz phase or a Stephen King phase. Like it's one of the two. I was a Stephen King guy in high school. I read every one of his books, but everyone was either a Koontz person or a King person.
Yeah, I tried to read Cujo and was so scared that I couldn't finish it. It was a few books that I like had to put down because I was too scared to keep reading. Like I am Joey from Friends. Like the book scared me, I put it in the freezer. Like,
because it can't hurt. It can't hurt you in the freezer.
It can't hurt you when it's in the freezer. It's science, okay? But like, I had this irrational fear of Stephen King, like my entire like adolescence into adulthood, that like legit the first time I went into the state of Maine on tour, I was white knuckling my bus handles. Like we're driving and I see the sign and I'm like, and there's literally, I can't make this up. It's so weird. There was a mist only on the Maine side of the state line. And I was like, this is how I die. I'm going to like, my life has just turned into a Stephen King novel. I hope it's not Secret Window. That's really creepy. Although Johnny Depp, so maybe. But like, I was like, I legit like called my best friend. I was like, "Jessica, I love you." And she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Maine." She's like, "Oh yeah, you're going to die." Because she's my best friend and knows of my fears. So.
Sure.
She's
I
like,
never even thought about that.
I was like, this is the home of Stephen King. Like, I'm going to die.
Yeah, if you read his shit, Maine is a terrifying place. Nothing good happens there.
I don't want to be there. It is beautiful, though.
I'm
oh
sure.
My God. The 2 cities that we went to were so stunningly beautiful. And we went in like winter, and we went to Portland, Maine. And that's right. I think it was Portland. That had,
I have some friends that moved to Portland and opened a theater, and I'm like so jealous. It looks fucking gorgeous.
It is stunning. The downtown is so quaint. And we stayed at this hotel that was like a quarter mile from the theater that we were staying at. So when we're that close, we walk to the theater, no matter how cold it is. Sure. And it was like maybe 12 degrees. No, that's a warm day. It was probably like 2 degrees. But like our hotel was on the water. So like I would wake up in the morning and look out my like 12th story window and just see like this seaport and like snow and like these houses that were still decorated for Christmas. And I'm like, I'm in a fucking Thomas Kincaid like painting. I'm like, my life is so weird, but this is also how they sucker you into those movies. Like everything's fine and pretty until the day. And I'm like,
if you look further out to sea, you'll see like a massive writhing tentacles or some shit.
Right? All of a sudden I'm like, oh hey Cthulhu. What's up, buddy? Yeah, cool. All hail.
Yeah.
Love the green. Brings out your eyes.
The tentacle face, it's a good look.
I mean, I love facial hair, so you know.
It's close enough.
Actually, speaking yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I actually have this massive book of H.P. Lovecraft that I have never read. And so I'm like trying to get through it, but I also like don't find myself wanting to read it until I'm like 2/3 asleep. And then I pick it up and I read like 3 pages and I'm like, bookmark. It has nothing to do with how interesting the story is, but I'm like constantly like, what are they talking about? Yeah. Oh yeah. And by the time I catch up, I'm like, and close the book, it's bedtime. Like
yeah, I when I was probably 13 or so, at like 2 a.m, it was one of those situations like you were saying of like I was supposed to be asleep, but I wasn't. I was reading, and it was the Stephen King short story 1408. Oh. I distinctly remember it just fucking me up so hard. I did not sleep that night. I just like huddled in a ball in the corner of my bed, just like making sure I can see the door and just like,
oh yeah. You make sure that, like I had bells that I would put on my closet doors because like that was the scary thing. Under my bed, I wasn't scared of. Like as a kid, I was never afraid of the monster under my bed. I was afraid of the monster in my closet. Like I was more afraid of Sully than I was of monsters.
When I was 9, I was 9 or 10, and I was in this terrible like student film called A Valiant Kiss for the Closet Monster, and I played 2 characters, and one of the characters was I did the voice of the closet monster, and me as a 9-year-old trying to sound like a scary closet monster, like didn't work out.
Please tell me your mother still has that footage and that you have scanned it and you will send it to me.
Oh,
I need to see that.
I have not scanned it, but there's a VHS somewhere. Somewhere in my mom's garage, there's for sure a VHS tape.
That's another thing I want to do and go home for, is so that I can take like all of the home videos that like exist on VHS and just like take them to somebody and get them put onto digital format so that like we can have them forever, because film does degenerate, and like, you know, that's the reason why there are those vaults that are kept with temperature and humidity control, because they do like disintegrate. And so it's one of those things that like I want to make sure that those get saved. Yeah, because memories are fun. They're also fuel for blackmail, and I have 2 sisters, so I'm holding all of the files.
I'm very like photo averse because my dad, growing up, my dad was a professional photographer, so he wanted to take pictures of everything. So I'm very like, I'll just remember it, I'll be fine. I had so many pictures taken of me growing up that as an adult, I'm like, fuck pictures, I don't believe in them. I'll have the experience forever, and then I forget a year later.
Yep. My mom at every family gathering was the one that was like constantly with the photos and the camera, like, which is amazing because now I have all these like crazy photos of my childhood, most of which I'm looking at her like, oh, Mom, but you still get the memories and it's so great. Yeah. The only thing that I did learn something from that was that you can't be the only one taking photos. And I think that in this day and age, it's impossible for people to not be in photos, because now everyone is a photographer with their phones. And I mean, there's still, you know, actual photographers like Cameron and, you know, people who have like actual cameras.
Right.
But like looking back at that time, there's so few photos of my mom in them, because like we never did like selfies because she had like a camera, and you can't, it's real hard to wrangle 3 children and try to do a selfie at the same time and not drop your camera because they will break, and that shit's expensive. So like I did learn that, but I wish that there was more. I wish that I took more photos, because I lived in the moment too many times. Like you said, like I'll remember it, and it's like, oh, but I wish I still had like a photo, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can take the like 2 seconds out of what you're doing, take one photo and be like, I remember that. That's when this happened. And then it sparks that memory and you can remember all of these things. But as I knock my ear, but it's the curse of being Italian. You just talk and knock things over with your hands. Yeah. What's that old joke? How do you make an Italian shut up?
How?
Make them sit on their hands.
Oh.
It's you can't talk. Like it's hard.
Yeah. I'm also I think I don't realize how much my arms do when I'm talking. Like until I see myself like recorded and I'm like, what are my elbows doing? What is happening? Like, why do I do that? Like, same with my eyebrows. My brows fucking bounce around and I have no control over it. And so I took an acting for the camera class in college, and the whole time I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my eyebrows?
You're just doing what they do.
Just yeah.
You just gotta let them.
Yeah, they have a life of their own. It's fine.
So, how early did you develop your love of movies and all of this stuff?
Pretty immediately. Yeah, I feel like I was like 6, 7 when my dad just started just showing me movies, and I was just like, these are the best. I like the feelings I get from these more than the feelings I get in real life. And so I will choose fiction instead.
If there's anything to ever put a saying on a shirt, I like movies. They give me feelings I like better than real life. Done.
Yeah, yeah. And then it really took off in 6th grade when I met my best friend Alex, and on the playground when other kids were playing sports, we would play the movie game, which was just 20 questions about movies. We would just sit in a circle with like 1 or 2 other friends and talk about movies every recess. And he and his dad are the ones that really started like showing me new things. And I was like, oh shit.
What were the movies that your dad showed you versus the movies that like Alex and his dad showed you?
My dad really liked like dumb action movies, and he didn't really care to differentiate between good ones and bad ones. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he would show me The Matrix and I would be like, this is amazing. And then he would show me Universal Soldier or something with Steven Seagal and I was like, this is not amazing.
Oh, fucking Steven Seagal.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of me being like, oh, there's a difference between the good ones here and the ones I'm less into. And then my best friend's dad started showing me a lot of like Kubrick. He showed me The Shining and he showed me 2001 and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, God. The Shining. The Shining screwed me up so much as a kid.
Oh, it fucked me up so bad. That Room 237 scene with the old woman, just like seared itself into my brain.
Oh no, I couldn't even finish it the first time I went to watch it. I think it was like 9 or 10, and like I was like, I can't watch this. It's like, nope, hard out, and like just like left the room, ran away, like crawled into. I think we were watching it at some like family gathering because they would always shove like the grandkids into a room with a TV and then just leave us there. Like people would check on us to make sure that we were still alive, but like nobody gave 2 shits about what was on the TV. Like they would think like Thanksgiving. So I'm one of 15 grandchildren on my mother's side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, my mom's the oldest of 5. So it's like an average of 3 a family in the 80s and 90s. Like that's pretty on par.
Sure.
But they would like, when we were little, they would put us all in the den and like turn on the Disney Channel or something. And then we'd end up watching like football or something. And sometimes one time we found out that they got HBO and all bets were off. And we just sat there and watched like R-rated movies when we were like 10, 12, 6 years old. Like it was bad. But I remember that day we were in there watching the boys were watching The Shining. And I like was like, I noped out of that room so hard and like crawled into one of my aunt or uncle's laps. And I was just like, just hold me. Can you just like put your arms around me? And I'm just going to sit here and pretend I'm little again. And like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, my sister actually texted me about The Shining yesterday because she can't do horror movies at all, like even like the slightest bit of spookiness, and she's like out, and her fiance is like desperately trying to get her to watch The Shining with him, and she was like, "Am I gonna freak out if I watch The Shining, or am I gonna be okay?" And I was like, just watch it, you'll be fine."
You're a grown ass woman. Pull those big old panties on.
Yeah.
You'll be okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
she'll be fine.
Plus, by getting to watch The Shining, she gets to watch Doctor Sleep, which I loved.
I finally saw that a couple, like a month or two ago. I didn't see the theatrical cut. I went straight to the director's cut and fucking loved it. I think Mike Flanagan is a goddamn genius.
Yeah, I think he lives like within like a few miles of us because like there's like he constantly posts like photos of his neighborhood and we're like, those are the same hills that I see. You cannot be that far away.
That's awesome.
Like, are you my neighbor? Because that'd be great. Come over for
that'd be
cookies
so
and
cool.
movie talks. That sounds great. Right? Yeah, but no, I loved that movie. Like I found a whole new appreciation for horror as an adult. I think because I have seen so much shit that I'm like, go ahead, try and scare me. Which is awful.
You're like, that's nothing.
Yeah, which is awful because I'm still like a massive scaredy cat. Like, actually, you can ask Janine. She finds it really funny. She's like, you're this badass, like tough, like warrior woman when it comes to like protecting her family and friends. I'm like, yeah. And she goes, and then it comes to horror, and you are like a chicken shit. I'm like, I know. I'm like, I don't like it.
Balance. Yeah. That's balance, you know?
Yes. But now, like I'm literally like Lenny. I'm like, tell me about the rabbits, bad things. But no, I have found it interesting because now that we're, in the schmodown and you get tested on everything, like now I've had to like push myself past those boundaries. Have you found yourself having to watch or rediscovering anything because of a wheel slice that happens to be in our choices?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know, because like my problem is that I'm a broad but not as deep player. So I feel like 60% comfortable with all the slices. You know what I mean? Like I'm less like I have these few slices that I feel really good about and the rest scare me, and more that like most of them I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So trying to find the ones that I'm weaker on and shore them up a little bit is interesting. Like I do have a limit though. I'm not going to watch a bunch of biopics. I'm just not going to do it. I can't stand biopics.
Interesting.
They just bore me. I just like, yeah, I just like, I'd rather just go read a fucking Wikipedia page about that person. I just I don't know.
It depends. Like there are some, like Ray is phenomenal. I will watch that over and over and over again, and I loved Rocket Man and not We Will Rock You. What's the Queen one?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. I was like, it's one of their other songs.
Yeah.
We Will Rock You is the name of their musical, which is terrible. But like,
that's what I hear.
I love both of them, and like, they're not great movies, but they're aesthetically pleasing, and I love different things about both of them. So I'll watch those. But yeah, there are some that I'm like, why?
I'll watch some for like the performances. Like Ray is great because that central performance is so good. Rocket Man is awesome because it's a musical and I like the music, so I can get into it. I'm very like, if you're gonna make a biopic, I want it to be either like formally weird, like Rocket Man, and have some kind of like stylistic hook. Yeah. Or you pick a very specific time in that person's life and you cover that. Like Lincoln is great because it covers 2 fucking weeks. You know, it covers 2 really important weeks in his life. I think it's when you try to cover the entire span of a person's life that I just check out for some reason.
That's fair. I mean, yes, depending on the person, but like overall, it doesn't tend to work out well unless you're like a massive fan of that person, which
sure.
Granted, you're gonna go watch whatever, but I love that you use Lincoln because I always made a joke that Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was a biopic. And I would text DJ and be like, so is it in biopics yet? Like, can I put that on the wheel? Because I love that movie.
I would love that. God, that'd be so funny.
The movie is so much fun. I love the book. It's so insane. There's something about vampires that I just find both like incredibly alluring and like so ridiculous at the same time.
Okay, but do you prefer sexy vampires or gross vampires?
Give me a for example.
So, like, 30 Days of Night is gross vampires, big nasty teeth, and they're like, and they're all spooky and shit.
Okay.
Whereas opposed to like Shadow of the Vampires, like sexy, luxurious vampires that wear capes and have flowing hair, and they're always right on the verge of kissing each other.
I mean, how do you pick? They're so
Right?
so good.
Right?
I think the Blade movies walk a really fine line between both of them. Like they have a leg in each genre or in each division. I love Blade Trinity. That movie is like one of my favorites. Like if I need to laugh and like feel a little like if I'm feeling a little dark and I just need to laugh at someone for their misfortunes, like I will watch Blade Trinity just because you get Ryan Reynolds, who I have been deeply in love with since Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. Like I am such a massive fan of his. So when he plays Hannibal King, it just like, oh my God. Like a friend of mine posted on Facebook a few days ago something about watching Blade Trinity. And so people started posting quotes and like they kept posting the same ones over and over again. And no one posted my favorite one. So I got to go in there and be like, first of all, your hairstyle is ridiculous. Secondly, I had a lot of garlic for lunch and I just farted. Like it's such a stupid throwaway line, but it makes me laugh every time. Like just,
everyone really loves busting out. Some motherfuckers just love ice skating uphill. It's true. They're not wrong.
I mean, I love their movies. They're just so good. I mean, the fact that you also get like Parker Posey in a comedic scene with Ryan Reynolds, like give me an entire movie of that, please, dear God. Like, can we get like
actually only seen Blade 2.
You've never seen Blade 3? Wait, you've never seen Blade 1 either?
Nope. I watched Blade 2 because Guillermo del Toro. That was like the thing that I was like, I have to see this. But like, yeah, for whatever reason, even though I'm like a Marvel nerd, those movies just like, I don't know if it was the timing of how old I was when they came out. They just missed me completely.
Oh my God, Zip, we need to do a marathon. Like
I'm down.
It's so good. Like the first one is like intense and serious, whatever. But like this, and then there's the second one, which is like, okay, it's fun. But then the third one is just like they lean in so hard to the ridiculousness of it, and it just makes you so happy. It's just so good. I think you would really, really enjoy it. I mean, I love Guillermo del Toro. He has made some of my favorite movies. Like I love dude, his Hellboy movies are so good.
So good. I want him to be my dad.
In comparison. What about your dad?
I want Guillermo del Toro to be my dad. I want him to be my spooky monster dad. Like he's the best.
All you have to be is a little Japanese girl on his set who's scared of him, and he'll let you call him. What did he let her call her?
Totoro-san, right? She called him Totoro.
Yeah, because he's so big and she was so small and she was scared of him, so he let her call him Totoro. And I'm like, that's the cutest fucking thing in the world.
It really is.
Like, because he creates monsters that are terrifying. The one with like the eyes in the hand. Oh God.
Ooh. But the thing I love is that he doesn't like monsters because they're scary. He thinks they're beautiful. He thinks monsters are gorgeous and deserving of love and like.
And he makes them gorgeous. Like, I think my favorite one of his is Pan's Labyrinth. Like, I remember going and seeing that like 4 or 5 times in the theater and just being like so entranced. And then somebody made the comparison of the guy with the eyes in his hands.
Pale Man.
What was his name? Handman?
The Pale Man.
Oh, the Pale Man. But somebody said that it was like an embodiment of like the white male CEO like greed of like sitting at a table and while he doesn't eat anything, you can't have it. And he only sees what he reaches for because it's what he wants. And it's like, I read this whole article and I was like, this is so deep. Like, oh my God. It's nuts.
That guy puts fucking thought into his monsters. Like, they are.
Did you watch the special they did for for that movie about like how he had a notebook that was 20 years old that he was literally going through over the course of those 20 years and like creating new monsters or like, you know, just making tweaks to them and refining them over 20 years for this one movie. Like, that's insane. Like, nobody does that anymore. They literally see a movie from 25 years ago that people kind of liked, and then they remake it or reboot it, and like that's what we do now.
And I love that he saw Creature from the Black Lagoon and was like, "Wait, why doesn't the creature get to fall in love?" And then made a movie about it.
And then we got Shape of Water, which, you know what? Good for you. I love that movie.
Yeah. I hope those two crazy kids are happy together. They're adorable.
Yeah, girl, enjoy your gills. Have fun.
Yeah.
Swim off.
Agreed.
It's great. Yeah. More power to you. There's so much hate in the world. Also, just the like, Michael Shannon's finger.
Oh man.
In that movie was so repulsive. I could smell it rotting while I was watching it in the theater. Like, that is some powerful imagery. Like, he's so good at it and so subtle too. Like, just like
he's the monster
hanging in the background. Oh yeah, it's so good.
He's so that guy, man. He's so scary, but he's also so funny. He channels his like inherent spookiness in a way that really makes me laugh sometimes. Like, did you watch Boardwalk Empire?
Yes. God, I love that show.
His character in that, oh god, so funny.
Yeah, I mean,
that man.
That show was so good. That one in Magic City, I don't think got enough love. Do you remember Magic City?
Magic City.
Magic City took
I vaguely remember. It was only 1 or 2 seasons, right?
It was like 2 seasons. I think it was like on HBO. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan was the lead before he was, you know, Papa Winchester on Supernatural or Denny or, you know,
before he blew up.
My god. Yeah, before he like became Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he played this like gangster, like trying to open a casino and hotel down in Miami, and it was like completely fascinating to like all of like this mobster stuff. And then I mean, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and like everybody, he's just so pleasing to the eye. He also swears like a sailor, and I love him to death. But yeah, that show was completely underrated. Like, more people know what Boardwalk Empire is, but like that was like in New Jersey, right? Like that was the Jersey Shore.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly. Like, I haven't watched that show in a really long time. But yeah. Oh, looks like we have a few more Streamlabs. You guys are awesome. Yeah. So let's get ready. I love you guys. I'm here to support my favorite person, the Switchblade. Make sure to join your Patreon. It's one of the best. My question for Zipper is your sword tattoos. What swords are they? You two are awesome and huge fan of both of you. Shug. Thanks, Shug. You sweet, sweet man. I love you.
So I'm a big old nerd, and one of my favorite shows is Adventure Time. These are all of Finn's swords from Adventure Time. Because the swords in the show kind of mark his like stages of development through his adolescence. So as he like kind of learns lessons and learns how to be a person, he kind of gets a new sword, and it marks sort of a new stage. And I really like that. And so I got all his swords on my arm because I'm a nerd. Fuck it.
That's awesome. I love that. And then we got one from Michael K. So looking forward to seeing you in the singles tournament, Rachel. Who is a competitor you want to see in the tournament that you've never faced before? I mean, I would love to face you, Zip. I think that would be a fun-ass game. We could get sassy and
That'd
saucy.
Be a really fun match.
That would be a really fun match. I think that would be up there with my match against Who's the Boss, because I got to sit next to Riley, and we were both like 5-year-olds, like slapping each other's legs under the table, being like, "Love you," but we can't put that out on the television right now. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. You know who I'm dying to face? Any of the females. Like,
in singles, I have only played against women.
Are you serious? I think you're
just
the
Haley
only
and
one
Stacey.
that can say that. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I've only played 2 matches, but still.
Yeah, I've never, in all of the matches that I played, and I say all as in like the 6 or 7 that I've played, in every match I played, I was the only female. So I would really love to play one of the females if that works out static wise for the singles tournament. I think that would be
Who in particular
really
would you like to?
I think facing Haley would be fun, just because our strengths are so different. I think that facing Claudia Dolph would be amazing because I heard that I watched her clear the table for the musicals, and I was like, oh really? Interesting.
So you guys might have some similar.
I think that would be fun to face her.
Strength.
I would love to face Brittany Young. I am a massive, massive Glow fan. And when she came in for that taping that day, I got to talk to her and I was like, yeah, we need to go shopping because like nobody understands how to shop for bigger girls. And she's like, oh girl, I've got all the places. She's like, yes, as soon as I get back, we'll do it. Because she was like literally she had come in, they were off they had suspended taping for Glow for like 2 weeks, which is why she was able to come in and do the match. And then she was supposed to go back to Las Vegas and then like,
Sure.
shit at the fan and now we're all where we are. So it hasn't happened. So I'm dying for her to come back in. And I've talked to Kaiser and I was like, Kaiser? Because like she's a huge Disney fan too. When they were doing the exhibition matches, I was like texting Kaiser. I'm like, Kaiser, see if she wants to do a Disney exhibition match because I would love to play her Disney exhibition. Like that would be amazing. We could bring in, Jill. We could bring in. I mean, James White could play too. Like he's amazing. Mm-hmm. But I would love to face Brittany. I would love to face Claudia. I think down the road, it would, if we could build it up, I would love to like have just a face off with Janine. I think that would be awesome. Hilarious. Just like legit all of the shit talking before and like, oh, I mean, I couldn't do a song duel with her because she can sing. I don't know if have you heard Janine sing?
And like only when she did the national anthem. That's it.
Oh my God. You follow her on Twitter and she'll post like videos of her Twitter or Instagram. I think she does TikTok now too. The girl's got a voice on her and it is like obnoxious. Yeah. When we went to New York in August, it was right around her birthday. And it was after Ben and Drew had their like Action Guys show on like the Thursday night before the Friday night comedy show. And we all went out for karaoke afterwards. And Janine and I did Crush because we would always sing it in her car, but she would sing the song and I would be the one that comes in. She'd be like, it's just a little crush. And I'd be like, Crush. Like I was her backup singer and I'm so bad. It's hilarious. And she's so good. Amazing. So like if she,
I'm
she
also
some, like
terrible.
Crazy songs. Oh yeah, no, I can't sing.
I think anytime I do karaoke with someone that can sing, it's like, that's rude. That's disrespectful. Don't show up to karaoke and like crush it. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, so as the last 7 years of my touring career, I was touring with musicals. And so like everyone can sing on those shows. Like everyone, like the crew, the musicians, and I was always the odd one out. I was like, I can't sing. I can dance a little, but I can't sing. And so they would put on these cabarets to like raise money for like Youth AIDS Foundation or LGBTQ youth educations, whatever. All over the country, we would do at least like 2 or 3 a season, and I've always wanted to do, there's a number in the musical chorus line called Sing. And like, it's this husband and wife singing and he's trying to tell Zach, played by Michael Douglas, like why like she'd be great for this, but they need her to sing. And so they do this song. She goes, well, I can never really sing. What I couldn't do is sing. What I really want to do is sing. And it's like a back and forth thing. And at the time, my manager had like, Michael Raymond had the most beautiful voice. Like it was high and clear and precise and gorgeous. And I can't sing. So we thought it would be really funny to do that. And we never got a chance to do it. And I was so sad that I never did it, but it's like the perfect song for someone who cannot sing. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I
If I get a bottle of tequila in me, I will go up and pretend that I am Tina
Sure.
Turner.
I'm forced to sing a lot through improv. Like we play a lot of musical games, and I've done improvised musicals and stuff. And it's like you got to just commit and do your best. But man, it is not pretty.
Oh, I mean, if I've learned anything from my best friend's wedding, is you just fucking give it your all, and people will get behind you because they really do give you an A for effort.
Yeah, if you commit hard enough, they're like, "Oh, you're trying. That's awesome."
If you can sell it. When I was living in Nashville, my girlfriends loved to sing, and they wanted to go out one night, and I was like, I'm not singing. And they're like, oh, we bet you're going to get to sing. So they just kept plying me with drinks, and I got up and sang My Heart Will Go On. It was awful, but I gave it my all, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
The thing that helped me so much, so I know this guy named Scott Passarella is one of the most amazing keyboard improvisers in the city, and he used to host this thing called live band karaoke, improv live band karaoke, where you would write the name of a song that doesn't exist and put it in a box and then sign up to sing, and then you would just draw the song title from the box and you would improvise the song with a full band behind you. And the thing I learned is that it's impossible not to feel awesome with a full band backing you up. Doesn't matter how shitty you are. I'm terrible, but I would end and be like, fuck yeah.
Oh no, I've got the heart and soul of a lead singer from the 80s, but I have the vocal cords of a smoker that is tone deaf.
Exactly.
I mean, I actually, that's something I used to do a lot in my early 20s when I first moved down to LA, is we would find live band karaoke. And there was a few, I had a friend that went to UC Santa Barbara. So I would drive up to see her every now and then. And there was a band that would do it. And I think the drummer was from Sugar Cult, and the guitarist was from H2O. And then it was legit punk rock stars in this band. And you would literally just get to go up and sing. And so I would go up and sing 24 hours to go. Sedated.
I want to be sedated.
24 hours to go. And you get up there and you just you can't sing that song in a crowd and not get everybody rocking. Everybody loves that song. It is so much fun. So I go for songs like that. I can legit do Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Oh yeah.
I can speed rap that. That's
fine.
That's
close enough. I really truly do think that the secret, if you can't sing, to successful karaoke is pick any song with a call and response. Any song where the audience gets to yell back at you. It's why Sweet Caroline is the karaoke song, because the audience gets to yell, so good, and everyone has a great time. And so I used to always do Wanted by Bon Jovi because the audience got to do that. Wanted! As long as you give them something to do, they don't care if you can sing.
Or as long as they can sing along. Because the most successful, if you have decent chops, the most successful karaoke song is by Journey.
Oh.
How do you you can literally hear the first two notes and everyone is like, restless hearts sleep alone tonight. And everyone just turns into they're performing for the balcony, you know?
Yeah.
You can be in the middle of the most intense conversation. Whoa. And you fucking get into it, and it's so much fun.
You're not wrong.
I love those songs. I actually the most embarrassing moment on stage. So I'm a huge fan of Supernatural, the TV show. I love that show. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great at storytelling. The boys, I know they're 40, but whatever, they'll always be the boys. Jensen and Jared are just the most amazing human beings on the face of the planet. I've met them numerous times. I love them so much. I would go to the conventions because I was that type of fan. And back in those days, I had a lot of Disney money to burn, and I had months off, and so I would go to the conventions. So I went to I went to VanCon in Vancouver, which is where they shoot the show. So VanCon was very much known for some of the actors just dropping by. They may not be guests, but like they'll just drop by. And like Friday nights, the convention was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Friday night was karaoke. And every year was a theme. And so I can't remember what theme that one was that year, but I went and I had gotten one of the actors at one of the previous conventions. I found out that he was a punk rock fan, and I'm like, oh my God, will you sing with me if I sign up for karaoke? And he's like, of course. So Ozra Chow, if you know who he is, he's like the most adorable little Asian boy in the world. I love him. I have this great photo of him, like as a photo op, like of him hopped on my back. It's adorable. He's so sweet. But so he was supposed to get up and sing with me, and I picked My Friends Over You by New Found Glory. I thought it was a very well-known song. It's very easy. I get up there. He doesn't know the words. And it's not karaoke, like they have the words right there. I mean, it kind of was like the screen was like off to the side. It was one of those things where like you got up and you sang a song that you knew and could perform. And so I get up there and I'm the only one singing. No one in the crowd is excited for this song. And I'm up there by myself. Ozra gave up and walked off stage. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna, like, I'm here. Like, I gotta finish this. Bless his heart, Matt Cullen, who is now on General Hospital, I think, comes running in from backstage and runs up, grabs a mic, and starts singing with me. And he's like a chimpanzee on crack. He's just so wonderful, but he's like so much energy. So he sang with me, and it was the most amazing thing. I love him so much. He's so sweet. And I get off stage, and people are like, the song's over, and people are like, okay, next one. Like, it was so awkward. And then like I ran into Matt later, and he literally like grabbed my shoulders and was like, that is one of my favorite songs ever. And I'm like, I'm really glad you liked it because no one else did. It was
that's awesome.
We're talking like 1,000 people in the audience, and I ate shit. It was so much fun. Oh no, what?
Oh no.
Oh no, what happened?
Sorry, you were freezing and cutting out a little. You're back, I think.
Guys, stop streaming porn.
There you
God, you have a calendar for a reason.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
I live with Brandon and Alex, so yeah. I mean, it's true.
That's gonna be such a fun house.
It is. God, Alex is so creative. Alex is actually doing something that's really fantastic. I can't tell you what it is right now, but he's dropping it tomorrow. So if you're a fan of Alex Marzonia, and I will tell you this, you should be, because he is amazing and talented and wonderful. Go follow Alex Marzonia on Twitter. And he will be announcing something tomorrow and posting something that is amazing that I have been dying for him to release. So I'm super, super excited for tomorrow. But yeah, he's creative and it's great. And, you know, we have movie nights and hang out. And
he's such a sweetheart.
He really is. I mean, if you've been watching the Schmodown, he is the guy that's always running around and like making sure that the wheel is right and like he's just the best. Like, we have
the keeper of the wheel.
We literally have a tub full of wheel slices in our living room because he's the one that makes them. Like, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so great.
So you get an early peek at all the wheel slices.
I kind of get a say every now and then. He'll be like having issues with like design and be like, what should I put in here? I'm like, well, you have a lot of white, and then on there he goes, done, and like edits it. And so I'm like, yeah, maybe put some Denzel or some Viola or, you know, Keira Knightley. Like, just change it a little bit. Let's mix it up. Because not everybody likes white boys. Sorry.
It's true. It's true. We're not the best.
Oh, come now. I mean, some of you are decent. Great. Some of you are okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep those. Actually, it's funny. My so like I said previously, my mom likes to watch the show, and so I called her earlier today to be like, hey, I sent you the link, because she'll like put it on while she's cooking. I was describing you, and I got to like dark hair, glasses, dark facial hair, and she goes, Alex, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I get what I'm like, no, but I can understand why you thought that. But so she texts me like during the show. She goes, "I'm on. You guys both look good. I remember Eric. Have fun tonight."
Yeah, we met once.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure he was in the studio when you got to come by.
Should have just said the extremely Jewy one, and I'd have been like,
I always forget you're Jewish. I don't know what it is.
How do you forget that?
I don't know.
If I can't forget it, you can't either.
Well, I was gonna make a very inappropriate joke, but so let that one slide on by.
Yep. There it goes. There it went.
Hey, it's over there. It went bye-bye. So we covered movies a little bit. Tell me about your musical taste a little bit.
I never know how to describe my musical taste. It's like I like a little bit of everything. I tend to be into like music that isn't punk but is like punk inflected. Like I've been listening to a lot of Cloud Nothings and Titus Andronicus lately. Have been the two that are like on a constant loop for me. But I also like just like weird, ponderous, sad indie music and you know.
So just like the Garden State soundtrack.
Oh God, when I was like 16, the Garden State soundtrack was a thing for sure.
I'm pretty sure that had that not existed, hipsters never would have happened. Like that was the birth of the hipster.
That's ground zero for hipsterism.
It's like that's where the asteroid struck and then like leached into the water, and that's how we all got hipsterism.
One of my favorite songs has a line in it where they roast the movie Garden State, and it always makes me laugh. There's a Spoon song where he says, I remember when you walked out of Garden State because you had taste, you had no time to waste.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, I agree with you, Dylan. The Garden State soundtrack does slap. However, it is one of those things that when you work with musicians, can't listen to it.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's yeah.
That's a big old no. I mean, it does have its place. Like, I think so. Everybody loves Garden State, and it is a beautifully made movie. I just find that outside of Scrubs, I just don't like him.
Yeah,
and I can't
also
pull his name right now, but
Zach Braff. And
Braff,
that
yes,
movie is the reason we have the phrase manic pixie dream girl. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it has not aged well.
No, I mean, to be fair, I didn't really like. I understood the concept of what they were going for, but it was just all very like, I'm a white male, feel bad for me because I'm sad movie.
At the time, because I was an actor with depression, I saw it and I was like, oh my God, it's me. But now it's like, oh.
Yeah. But as a white female with depression, I was like, yeah, I know I have to deal with that bullshit and I have to clean up after that and still deal with my depression, which is exactly what she had to do. And it was amazing. I love Zach Braff, but like also like that role and the role that he played. Do you ever see The Last Kiss?
No.
He is such a douche nozzle in that movie. And that movie ends in such a way that like makes my blood boil. Like I am so livid at the end of that movie. Do you want me to ruin it for you? Because
yeah, that's fine. I think that movie came out while I was working in a movie theater and I could have seen it for free and still was like, nah.
Yeah, it is so bad. So it's all about this guy who like is a professor, and it's him and shoot, who's the girl? Rachel Bilson, that's right, of OC fame. Yeah. He plays her professor, and they end up like, he ends up in an affair, and his wife ends up being pregnant, and all of this shit goes down, and he's just like a massive raging asshole throughout the entire film, from like a female's point of view, or at least mine. Like I just could not stand this guy, and it ends with him like begging for forgiveness from his wife, who he has like fucked over so many ways in this movie. And like she's pregnant, and he's like sleeping on like this on their patio, like their stoop, and she like will literally just like walk over him, and he like sleeps out there for like 3 days, and she like leaves food out there for him. And like the movie ends with her opening the door and letting him back in, and I'm like, this is bullshit. She should have called an attorney and called the cops. And I'm like, this is such like, I was like, this is so asinine. Can't stand this. And what year? It was like 2006. So it was like that, like, kind of feminist era, but not quite. It was still very, it was ridiculous. I was so angry. Like every time I see Zach Braff now, I'm like, you're an asshole. I can't stand you. You cheated on your pregnant wife. But.
Yeah. And now he's dating Florence Pugh, who's like 23, and that's weird and gross.
Oh, Florence, no, you can do so much better, baby.
I know,
no,
I know.
She's so beautiful. And
she could be dating me.
That is definitely a step up. I will say that. I mean, unless by dating him, she gets to hang out with Donald Faison all the time, and in which case,
there you go.
that's a big perk, because I love Donald Faison. He is amazing. I mean, he's in Clueless. Like, come on. Like, right? How do you know Donald Faison?
What else do you need?
Yeah, not much. I mean, in that movie, you got so much amazing content. I mean, I know it's like almost 30 years old at this point, which makes me a little vomitous in my heart. But but like, you got everything. You got Claire, and it introduced us to Paul Rudd, which, thank God, he's amazing. And then you got to see like the birth of like one of the most beautiful like gay best friends scenarios. Like,
can you imagine a world without Paul Rudd?
No, I don't want to.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
He wasn't my high school graduation, and I did get to meet him. Yeah.
What?
He was like college friends with our peer counseling counselor teacher. Her name was Carla. And she was like one of those cool teachers. We got to call her by her first name, so it was Carla. I literally cannot remember her last name. But Carla apparently went to college with Paul Rudd, and he was in San Francisco with his wife, and they were supposed to go out. And she literally the night that the only night that they could go out or something was like the night of our graduation. She goes, I can't. I have like my kids are graduating. I gotta be there. And they're like, oh, well, you're like less than an hour from us. We'll just drive down and like pick you up at the graduation when it's over, and we'll go out to dinner. And so like I went over to talk to Carla after the graduation. She's standing there with somebody, and just kind of like stood by. And he had his back to us. Like, it was him and his wife. And then Carla, I was facing Carla, and she sees me around him, and she goes, oh, Rachel, come here, and like introduces me. And I was just like, oh, you're Josh. Like, screamed it at him, and like his wife started laughing. He just smiled, and he was very sweet. And I was like, I'm really sorry, but like, you can't just like sideline, like you can't just like sideswipe somebody like that. You can't just be like, oh yeah, this is John, this is Mr. Rudd, and I'm like, I love you. Like, you just.
I'm not 100% convinced he's human.
Oh, he's not. No,
he's like some weird ageless mischief god or something, right? Like, it just I
am very convinced that he is actually Loki, like the god of mischief. That. Like 100%. Like, he's just down here living out like his movie star dreams.
Yeah,
like I can totally see that being the case, because he doesn't age. He's so well liked. He's
supernaturally charming.
Oh, it's so gross. Like, when you meet somebody like that, you just want to be a part of their life.
Fuck you.
Right? Like, you're so great. I hate you. That's my aggressive form of love.
Like, how dare you? I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, but he was so sweet, and I just got to like, I literally interrupted his conversation with my old teacher so I could like give her a hug and like be on my way. And I was like, I met Paul Rudd. Like, I think I like emailed her the next day, and I was like, thank you, that was the best graduation present ever. Because like nobody, I don't think anybody else like got to meet him because they showed like I literally showed up like right after he had showed up, and they were like left immediately. Yes.
Amazing.
Craziness. So I mean, I think every star I've ever met has been just incredibly kind.
Yeah. I got to smoke some of Snoop Dogg's weed once. He wasn't there, but it was his weed.
My friend is his tour manager.
Really? That's awesome.
She's like the whitest white girl ever. I don't know if she still is. She was when I stayed at her place. Yeah, she was, because she was like, I was in town to work the Mary Poppins tour at the Amundsen, and I needed a place to stay for like 3 weeks, and I didn't want to stay at a hotel. So I was like, hey, can I stay at your place? And she goes, yeah, I'm not going to be there because I have to be in Denver, and then I have to go to Belgium, and then we have to go to Australia, and then, you know, and then I'll be home for like a day and all of this. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I forgot. I was like, she's like, yeah, I'm tour managing for Snoop. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. And I was like, looking up photos. I'm like, oh, holy shit.
Right.
That's awesome. I'm like, tell him I say hi. She's like, okay.
That's amazing.
I would love to. I got to smoke with Willie Nelson.
Ooh, that's a good one. Damn.
Like on his tour bus. It was kind of life-changing.
That's cool. I think top of the list for me right now, and I don't know why it's this person in particular, but I really want to get high with Armie Hammer.
I want to do a lot of things with Armie Hammer.
I mean.
Did you just get hot in here? Excuse me while I use my co-host as an actual fan.
I mean, I definitely saw Call Me By Your Name and saw him in that movie and was like, wow, I'm a little less straight than I thought I was.
Like, wait, that Jesus. Did it, and Man from U.N.C.L.E. didn't?
I actually haven't seen Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Huh. It is. I can't watch that movie anymore. It just makes my ovaries explode because you have
him and Cavill.
You've got Cavill and you've got Hammer, and they're both spies, like in suits and like killing people. And I know that shouldn't be sexy, but it kind of is. Like,
yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, why is violence sexy? Maybe, is it because I'm Italian? Is that why?
That could be part of it.
Like, am I just like phonetically wired to like guys that know how to throw a punch properly? Like, or how to like actually use a knife in a knife fight? Because I legit like get so, it pulls me out of a movie during like a fight scene when a guy grabs a knife and he's holding it like this instead of like this. Mm-hmm. You don't hold it up. You don't go into a knife fight like this. It's going to get taken out of your hand. You hold it so the blade is out, and you can. I'm like, your stunt people suck.
How many knife fights have you been in, Rachel?
I've never had to actually fight.
But you're ready.
My dad did give me. Oh my god! So the second year I was on Warped Tour, my dad gave me a butterfly knife for protection, and I was like, this is a felony, but thanks, Dad.
That's amazing. Please tell me you learned how to like.
I did learn how. I can't do it anymore because it's one of those like it's muscle memory hardcore. I think if I practiced again, I could get it down. But like I remember showing up and like telling one of the security guards that like traveled with us about it. And he was like, do you know how to use it? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue. He's like, okay, so tomorrow, instead of going to the barbecue, like just come find me in front of our bus and like, I will show you how to use this. I'm like, okay. Well, he didn't tell me not to hit up the barbecue beforehand. So I did. And the barbecue is actually like a barbecue, but also like a tent full of jungle juice that they sell in cups that are far too big for human consumption. Like you shouldn't be drinking that much ever. So that was interesting. Oh my God, John Kaiser. I never said I wasn't in a. First of all, I only have one A in my name. Thank you very much. Secondly, I never said I wasn't in a brawl. I said I was never in a knife fight. There's a difference. Actually, I have been the reason why most of my guy friends have like become my guy friends is because one of them will take me out with him to a bar to like meet up with his other guy friends. They're like, "Why are you bringing a chick?" They're like, "It's Rachel. It's fine." And then some girls would start shit with them, and I would be the one to step up and be like, "You really don't want to do that." Like no violence, no hands, just like you might want to rethink this because you'll be dealing with me. And they'll be like, fine, he's a jerk anyway, and like walk away. And I'm like, I just cannot. I can't put up. I hate people. I do. I really do.
Oh.
I hate people so much to the point where I don't know how I got through with my job as long as I did.
I like about 14 people. Like in the world.
Fair.
Like I have like somewhere between 10 and 20 people in the world that I'm like, you're awesome. And you're right. Everyone else I'm just like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Maybe like 12% of the people I meet, because I've met so many people that like have been terrible or just like a waste to meet. That like I think 12% is a good number because after all the touring I've done, I think 12% is like a pretty accurate number. Camp Chef said, "What? You're an honorary Jew. I can see why you're so crazy for Zip. We all are." Wait, I'm so confused. I haven't been. I'm so sorry, guys. I have not been reading the chat. I've just been like going back to Streamlabs. So if you guys have any more questions for us, we're gonna be here for a little while because I don't know. I mean, if you have anywhere to go, let me know. We can like wrap this up. But like, I am really enjoying myself because I miss you.
I miss you too.
Oh, motherfucker!
I know.
Awful.
This
is like the best and worst thing of like getting to see you, but not get to like hang out and like give you a hug and like buy you a drink or something, which I will be doing as soon as we get to see each other.
Same. This is definitely like, it's better than not seeing people. Like it still feels great, like talking to people, but it's no substitute for like actually hanging out with someone in person.
No, but oh my God, Prince that wasn't promised. You got a $500 Benchmade Switchblade made for me? What?
What?
I don't understand. I mean, I love it. That's fantastic. I'm all for it. Maybe slide into my DMs. I'll give you that address to come ship it to. That's fantastic. Oh my God. Wait, you can't send a Switchblade via mail though. Wait, I don't understand. Where do you live? We'll figure this out off screen. We'll get this together. Oh, but Saul, my brother in arms, wanted to say, as someone who has been in a knife fight and teaches people to look like they also have, you're misinformed about how to hold your blade. Interesting.
All right.
Well, the next time we hang out, before we hit the bar, or before we hit the bar again, we'll figure it out. I miss you, Saul. I love you. You guys are the best. So fucking stupid. So last week I had Warfather on. So I'm on my string. I'm following my string of Eric's with Up With You because I figured that would be amazing. But Eric had said that he has. Wait, was it him? Somebody had never been to a concert before, and that just boggled my mind.
Wild.
Yeah. Do you remember who that was? My brain is not working. I'm pretty sure it was Eric last week.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me because he spells Eric wrong. So you can't trust anybody that spells Eric with a K. I have long believed
it is a Nordic thing.
I don't know.
It is.
I believe you. I just still don't trust it.
It's okay. I don't trust Rachel's that spell their name differently. I'm like, Rachel is biblical. Just keep it.
Yeah.
There's no Y. There's not two A's. There's not an I. Like, just keep it simple. But yeah. I mean, call me Ray Ray, that's fine. I don't really care. But like my nieces do that, so it's fine.
That's adorable.
Oh, they're both amazing. I have an 18-year-old niece and a 4, is Poppy 4 or 3? She's young. There's a time between like after you turn like 2, I'm like, I don't know what age you are until you're in kindergarten.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like at all. Yeah, it's insane. But she is so cute. Oh my god, she looks just like my sister too, which I'm like, oh god.
I don't have any nieces or nephews. I have a dog nephew, but that's it. My sister has a dog that I'm obsessed with, but that's the closest thing I have to a niece or nephew.
Does she plan on having kids?
I don't think so. Not particularly. Yeah,
I had to have that talk with my mom.
Oh,
I was like, by the way.
We all had to have that talk with my mom, and she's still processing.
None of you? Oh, see, at least my mom got 2 grandbabies out of my other 2 sisters.
Yeah, no, neither me nor my sister really wants kids, so she's like. But she has a stepdaughter who I think does want kids, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
I mean, it's one of those like great pleasures in life, I think, that like from that bygone era of like, you know, the generations of kids, and like we have
what you're supposed to do, you know.
I mean, and I don't get me wrong, I love all of my friends for procreating because my friends are raising their children right. It's the ones who are not raising their children right that I'm like, don't breed, please. Just keep it in your pants. Just keep it to yourself. Put a condom on. Actually, you should always put a condom on. But yeah, some people shouldn't have children. And everybody knows it, and I say it often, and I don't care. But yeah, I do feel bad for like the parents like having that expectation of like all of their children going off and like just breeding, and I'm like, just because genetically I have the hips for it does not mean I'm going to pop one out.
Yeah, I mean, I have a life motto, and it's no kids.
That's our number 1 rule on tour: no babies. No babies.
No kids.
No babies. Don't fucking get knocked
I
up.
cannot tell you how. Yeah, I cannot tell you how often I find myself just having to yell that no kids.
Oh yeah, when I heard when Alice used to talk about it like quite frequently, how he doesn't want children, I like fell a little bit in love with him. I'm like, that sounds so nice to hear somebody else say that. Oh, it sounds so wonderful. But now, like, I realize that so many people in our generation are taking that stance as well.
Yes.
And it's just because it's so expensive. It's so draining emotionally, financially, like time-wise. Like, I get that children are a gift, and I love everyone. Like I said, I love all of my friends' kids, but like, I can't do it. Like,
also, the world sucks. I don't want to inflict the world upon some innocent kid. Not trying to do that.
Malcolm, the big question is, do you allow capes? Absolutely not, because Edna Modes knows what she's talking about. No capes. I feel like in my heart, like, if I was to have a spirit animal of any kind, it would probably be Edna Modes. Mainly because I've always wanted to be that small, petite creature. Because I've never been small and petite, like, in my life. So I just think that it would be really fun to be, like, that size.
But with the same size personality that you already have.
Oh,
just condensed into a,
larger than life personality. Bitty bitty body. And I love that Brad Bird is the voice of her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So good.
I love that he did it like just as like a time fill. Like for the animation. Until they could find because like I think the animators just needed like somebody to like say the lines so that they could get like, you know, mouth movements and like timing into how like the director wanted it to be said. And so they like brought a few people in, and like Brad was like, no, I don't like their timing. So he like went in and did it, and he goes, well, until we find somebody that can do it the way I want them to, let's just use this. And he like did it, and then he just became Edna Modes. And I love that story.
That's
mainly
awesome.
because, like I said, she's amazing? Yes, Shug, you have 4 kids, and I support you in your decision for that, because those are your babies. And like I said, I love that my friends have children. I like being the aunt that flies in, hangs out, brings them some presents, waits for them to get a little bit older, takes them to their first concert. I'm the one that they call when they, get drunk for the first time and they don't want their parents to know, but they're at their friend's house and they're vomiting. They don't know how to stop and like shit like that. Like, do I go to the hospital? Yes, go to the hospital. Your parents will be fine. I will call them and tell them what's going on. Like, I love that aspect.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just don't want to be the one that's like staying up all night waiting for my kid to come home, knowing the shit that I pull on my parents that I have stopped telling my mom about stuff that she did not know. Because you can't do that to your mom. I realized. I don't I didn't realize you shouldn't tell your parents all of the shit that they didn't know went down when you were a kid.
There are things that they think they want to know, but they don't want to know.
No, they don't. Which I found out the hard way. just I'm literally waiting for my phone to start blowing up and my mom yelling at me, being like, "Stop talking to me!"
No, you're definitely right, though. Like, being able to, like, say goodbye. Like, I've worked with kids for the past, like, 12 years. Like, ever since college, like, I've had one job or another, like, working for camps, teaching improv. Like, working with kids is great because at the end of the day, I say goodbye, they get in the bus, and they leave.
Yep. I mean, I've had some great experiences with kids, especially on like Warped Tour, where we were in Fresno, and it happened to be we were in Fresno towards the end of the tour, which happened to kind of coincide with a few schools going back into session, and in Fresno, our date there was the first day of school, and some parents. Like, there were like these 6 or 7 like teenage boys between like 12 and 14 that were all friends, and all of the parents got together. They were really good boys, and the parents got together and they were like, you know what? They're huge fans of this one band that's performing at Warped Tour. Like, they've been really good all summer. Let's let them skip the first day of school and take them to Warped Tour. So they did. And the band that they were a fan of is 303. Have you ever heard of them? They're 2 white boy rappers from Denver, Colorado, and they are ridiculous and wonderful. I love Nat and Sean. They are just like the most amazing human beings. I miss them. But they've had a few songs. I think that you would like them. They're like ridiculous, kind of fun rap songs. I think you'll really like them. I'll send you a link to them.
Yeah, please do.
But it's 30H'3. So it's 303.
Gotcha.
Which is also funny enough the area code of Denver. 303.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're clever boys. They graduated from like Colorado University with like 5.0s. Like, these guys are incredibly smart and then became rock stars. Yes, Dylan, 303. They're fantastic. So these boys are huge fans of theirs, and they were doing, I was working for AT&T, and we were like the presenting sponsor, and we had sponsored 303, so they were supposed to come by and do like a meet and greet and an autograph signing with us later that day. And these boys showed up first thing, as soon as gates opened for Warped Tour. They literally just stood in front of our stage for like 20 minutes before we realized that they were there, like still there. And I was like, can I help you guys out? They're like, yeah. The parents were talking to me. They're like, yeah, they're big fans of 303. They're going to be here. I'm like, their signing's not till 4. Go away. Like, go enjoy Warped Tour. Go see some bands. Go hang out. Go get some stickers. Go give out some free hugs. Who gives a shit? Like, have some fun. And so it got to the point where they were like, no, they're really big fans. And so I was like, look, I'll make you a deal. Go to the eco tent. Talk to Tara. Go fill 2 bags each of recycling, and once you do, and you give them back to the tent, and you talk to Tara, she'll give you a password, and if you bring that password back to me, we'll take care of you. So they run off. An hour later, they come back with the password. And I was like, okay, cool. So this is what's going to happen. You guys are going to come back 5 minutes before the signing, and you're going to get to do a secret private meet and greet with the band. So like bring whatever you need to get signed. You'll get to meet them and hang out, just you guys and your parents and the band, for like 5 minutes before they have to do the signing. Okay. They're like, okay. I'm like, good, go away, go enjoy the show. So they come back, they do the meet and greet, and I talk to their tour manager, who's a really good friend of mine. And she goes, I go, hey, yeah, they're just big fans. Like, is it okay? She's like, of course. And so like after they leave, after they do the signing, she goes, hey, the band really liked them. Can we do something extra special? I was like, of course. Like, yeah. She goes, if they come back, we want to bring them on stage. So like at the end, we're packing up. Like it's like 20 minutes before their set. We're packing up, and the kids come back just to thank me for like helping like hook them up. Like these are good boys, like good boys. And so they came back, and I was like, actually, it's really cool. Meet me at that fence in like 25 minutes, and I'll get to do something really cool. And like I told the parents about it, and we took the parents and put them in the sound booth so that they could take pictures. And I took the boys and I took them backstage, and we got them on stage, and they ended up like being pulled out on stage with the band to sing one of their songs with them. And these boys were like living their best lives. I still hear from one of their dads and from one of the boys, like about every few years. And like, these kids have like grown up, and they went to college, and now they graduated and like started careers and nonprofits. And like every now and then I get these amazing emails, and I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever. So like, in a sense, I have those kids. Like I have kids out there, but they're not like biological.
Yeah, but that is some of the most heartwarming shit I've heard in a while. That is a very adorable story. You made those kids' days so hard. Like,
oh, they got to go back to school the next day with video footage of them on the main stage of Warped Tour singing with their favorite band. They were the coolest kids in school that year. I guarantee it. That's but awesome. I've got it's shit like that I miss doing. I miss using my position of power to like make kids happy. Like I have two girls that got to meet All Time Low, and I still hear from them. And this was like 13, 14 years ago. Like one of them like graduated college, and I like sent her this email, and I'm like, I am so proud of you. Like, I can't believe I met you when you were 13, and like now you're this grown woman. Like it's really heartwarming. I love my kids.
Yeah. What I'm sure this is a question you ask a lot on here, but what was the first concert you ever saw?
Ooh, the first concert I ever saw, like the big concert, was Billy Joel and Elton John face to face.
Ooh, that is a really good one.
I was 14 years old, and they were last minute tickets because our neighbors couldn't take them. And my neighbor was like banging on the door, like trying to get rid of them because like they were actually her cousin's tickets that she couldn't go. So she gave them to my neighbor Sherry, and she couldn't go. So Sherry tried to give them to us. And, like my mom was in the shower, and as soon as she told me that it was Billy Joel and Elton John, I like grabbed the tickets out of her hand. I'm like, thanks, Sherry, love you, bye, and like slammed the door in her face. My mom was already in the shower. I'm like, get out of the shower, woman. We're going to Billy Joel and Elton John. And we ended up getting there
now.
Like, get out, kid Trust. I don't care what you look like. You can dry your hair. Just hang your head out the window. It's fine. But we got there like 15 minutes late. The seats were great. And I was 14. I was singing and dancing to every single song. And I remember that was what started me on wanting to work in the industry, was just that feeling that you get at being at a show. Like, I'd never been to a big concert like that. I've always gone to, like, concerts in the park and shit like that. But, like, that was my very first experience. And, I grew up listening to Billy Joel and Elton John, and it was amazing. I just wanted to bring that feeling that I had to as many people as possible. So,
hell yeah.
And I got to do that a lot. So I feel very, very blessed in being able to do that. Actually, it's really funny. Today is the 2-year anniversary of my last day of full-time touring.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild.
2 years ago, I was in Milwaukee packing up the kiosks so that they would get picked up to get shipped back to New Jersey. And I caught a flight that night to St. Louis to go to the 4th of July. To go to the July 3rd show in St. Louis of Warped Tour on their very last full US tour. And it was a very emotional full circle week and day, because Warped Tour is what, if I didn't get hired for Warped Tour, I never would have gotten hired from Disney to do Beauty and the Beast, which never would have gotten me on tour with An American in Paris, which never would have led to me meeting John Leguizamo, and I never would have worked for him again this last fall and winter. And it was just like, it was just a very like, this is the start of it, and this is also the end of it. And like, I got to have a really nice talk with Kevin Lyman, who created Warped Tour, and like sit down and talk to him. And like, we had a really good talk, and I cried because I'm emotional. Like, I am an emotional wreck most of the time, but on that day I was a specific emotional wreck. But it was amazing. And yeah, it's been 2 years, and on the 6th it will be my 2-year anniversary of moving back to LA.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your first concert?
You're gonna laugh at me, but here's the thing.
I'm so excited.
So, imagine me as like a nerdy 13-year-old Jewy wannabe comedian, and of course, the first person I ever saw in concert was Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh my god! I was wondering if it was Weird Al or if like Adam. I was trying to remember if Adam Sandler did a tour, because I'm pretty sure he did at one point. But that makes a lot of sense. I've heard he's amazing in concert.
I've seen him 5 times. He's great.
Dude, don't say that like it's shameful. Say that with
I'm actually really not ashamed. He's pretty incredible in concert. I took an ex of mine, the girl I was seeing in college, I took her to a Weird Al concert with me, and I was having the best time, and she was baffled. It was great.
And there are some bands, I think, that like it's very much like movies. I think that, you know, everybody has those movies that if they show thank you, Kaiser. Thanks, first Kaiser. Concert was a polka band at his 13th. It's called a bar mitzvah, Kaiser.
I never even had a bar mitzvah. I'm not as
Jewish.
Quite as Jewy as I seem. I know, right?
And you're not even Jewish. You're like Jew adjacent, like
Jew-esque.
Jew-esque. Oh man, how did you not have a bar mitzvah?
I didn't want to go to Hebrew school. It sounded boring and stupid, and my parents didn't want to force me because they weren't religious at all. Only my grandpa was, and they were like, "Do you want to do Hebrew school and do a bar mitzvah and all that stuff?" And I was like, "No," because we weren't really religious. So I was like, "That sounds awful," and I stand by it.
Have you ever seen the movie Keeping the Faith?
Mm-mm.
I think you would really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It has a great cast. It's Ben Stiller, Edward Norton, and Jenna Elfman, and they play these 3 characters who met in like 7th grade, and the boys became best friends with like the 3 of them were best friends, and then she ended up moving away the summer before 8th grade. And then she comes back to New York, and Ben Stiller is a rabbi, Edward Norton is a priest. And she falls in love with Ben Stiller, and it's like the cutest little rom-com, but it's so funny because you see him like, he's like not, I can't remember the term, but he's not like the rabbi at a church. He's like the assistant rabbi.
Okay.
So he's the one that like has to like go through all of these teachings with like the Hebrew and like prepping the kids for like their bar and bat mitzvahs. And he's like in the middle of this one like reading with this one guy, and he's just like his voice is changing, and just that entire scene where he just turns into like Tony Robbins, and he's like God knows that your balls were gonna drop, like he knows that this is gonna be hard. He's like, you just got his face and be like, Hashem, you think you scare me with a little biblical Hebrew because my balls haven't dropped? And he's talking to the kid. And he's like, but I suck. He's like, yes, you suck, but you have to suck with style. Just say it. I love that I suck. And the kid's like walking out, being like, I love that I suck with like bongos. He's like, I love that I suck. It's the sweetest
That's delightful
movie. I absolutely love it. It's so good. Eli, I was about to say Manning, but that's not it. It's not Eli Roth. Who's the other one? Oh, he used to be in a ton of Westerns. Eli
Wallach.
Was it? Yeah, Eli Wallach plays like the overseeing rabbi.
Like head rabbi.
So that's sweet. Awesome. Holland. Oh god, it's an all-star cast. I think you'd really like it. It's one of my favorites.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out.
Sweet. That and Keeping the Faith and Return to Me.
Okay.
Also completely underrated. Super good. I love that somebody just Kaiser just texted me and said, I sent you a Streamlab.
Bless his heart.
I was gonna check in a few minutes, but I love that you sent that to me. Thank you. Kaiser sent Well, I will expand on my love of Kaiser later. But Kaiser sends in a Streamlab and says, Zip, who has better weed, Kaiser or Snoop Dogg? Babe, you know you're gonna lose that.
It's Snoop Dogg.
It's Snoop Dogg.
100%.
Of course it's Snoop Dogg.
Okay, so he did a show at my college, and I wasn't there, but the room he used as his dressing room was the room that me and some friends were rehearsing a play in. So we had rehearsal the next day, and there was just Snoop weed all over the floor. And so there was enough that we just like scraped it together, got a bowl together, and it only took one hit for each of us, and we were like incredibly high. We were like, what the fuck, Snoop?
Yeah, I think he and Willie Nelson have the same dealer, because when I walked on Willie's bus, so this is a fun story. So you know how Kevin Lyman created Warped Tour? Kevin Lyman also took that format from Warped Tour and took it out of the punk scene and put it into the country scene. So he had like a mini Warped Tour model, but with country artists.
Okay.
And one year he got Willie to be a co-headliner on the tour. So Willie was, on the tour and hanging out, and I knew a ton of the people who worked on Warped Tour that also worked on Stagecoach, or not Stagecoach, on what was it called? Regardless, on that tour. And I told them, I was like, yeah, I saw Willie, this last December with my mom. It was like a Christmas show, and, the radio put it on, whatever. And it was amazing. I'm so excited to see him again. She goes, oh, do you want to go meet him? Because I have to like take his food to his bus right now. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help you carry some plates. Like I carried a watermelon. I will fucking carry a watermelon so that I can meet Willie Nelson. That sounds amazing. And so like we bring the food in, and like literally as soon as the door opens, it's just like and by the time I got to the top of like the 4 or 5 stairs, I'm pretty sure I was like contact high. And then like we put the plates out, and she had to leave, and I was talking to their drum guy or something, or and then Willie asked me like who I was, and we got to talking, and I like sat down, and he's smoking. And I literally like was already stoned off my ass, and he offered me a hit, and I like, you can't say no.
No.
Like if you do, that is like I don't believe in having big regrets in life. Like you can have little regrets, that's fine. Nobody goes through life without regrets. Mm-hmm. But like if I had said no to smoking with Willie Nelson,
I would have never forgiven you.
I'm pretty sure I would have had to have just like walked off a cliff, because like you can't live with yourself after that. Like I don't care if you do drugs or not. Like you say yes to Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
100%. So I did, and then I walked off, and my friend who was like waiting on the stage for me, she goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I need chips and salsa by like the gallon right now." It was so amazing. But yeah, I gotta say, I would love to know who has the better weed, if it's Snoop or Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah,
because that's a smoke off right there.
I think I know. I think because
Kevin,
Kevin,
what do you say?
The thing is, Kevin Smith has admitted that he only became a huge stoner a few years ago, right? That it took him a while. Whereas Snoop has been smoking so much for so long. Imagine what it takes to get him high at this point.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just feel like his tolerance has got to be just like so entrenched.
I mean, I would think so. I mean, I know that he said that he like stopped for a while, which I was like, I don't understand what you're saying. So you stopped breathing? Cool, I guess. Gills, but no, I would love for like just to be a fly on the wall for any time that like Kevin Smith and like Snoop Dogg get together to smoke. Like, put that out into the universe. I just want that. Because apparently now that Kevin Smith is a part of, oh my God, talk about dream first round matches. If I could face Kevin Smith in the singles tournament, I don't care if I would lose or not. I would probably just have to wear Depends because I would probably just piss myself the entire match. I would be so happy and excited.
I would be so happy for you.
Yeah, and I don't care who knows, Kevin Smith or Chris Jericho. Like, I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho. Like, I would love to sit down with him and just interview him and just be like, how does your brain work after all of those DDTs? Like, I've literally seen your head just like contract upon hitting concrete numerous times. But yeah, I either of them. I mean, just I would fangirl in the most respective way possible, but I would be losing my shit inside.
You know, if you played against Kevin Smith, you have to put the Kevin Smith slice on the wheel for sure.
I don't know if I would though. That's the thing. Like, how could I would love to do a Kevin Smith off with Kevin Smith. Yeah. I think that would be amazing. But like, do you put that on the wheel? Like, that's I mean, ever since he joined, that's the question is like, is it fair for him to put that on the wheel? And I'm like, I mean, yes and no. Like, I know that PJ is so excited now that he gets to like kind of write Kevin Smith questions to try and stump Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Potentially. But oh my God, Mike K. Why? I would legit have to pay somebody to like just shoot me in the face afterwards because there could be no higher pinnacle of happiness in my life. That would be amazing. I would want to be like, just kill me now. I can die happy. Like, I mean, not immediately after the match because then we'd have to go out for post-match drinks. And that would be amazing. Also, Harley Quinn just turned 21, so happy birthday to her.
I miss post-match drinks.
I miss our bar so much. Like, I try to ignore the fact that Saturdays exist. Right. Because that was the day that we would tape and we would all get to hang out and see each other and enjoy each other's company and bullshit and catch up on like, we'd gossip about what happened that day and we'd get to like, every now and then you get in really intense discussions about like what was going on in your life. And God, I miss being friends in a physical sense with people. Yep. It hurts a little.
Remember hugs?
Why?
I'm sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to make you sad. God, do I miss hugs.
Physical touch is my love language, and I live with two men who it is not theirs.
Aw.
It's okay. Yeah. I force them every now and then. Every now and then I'm like, I need a hug, and you have to give it to me, or I will die. Like, I have not... Like, I'm Italian. We're supposed to, like, I grew up being touched and, like, touching people. Like, not in a creepy way, guys. Don't take it that way. But, like, like I will, at 36, am I 36? Yeah, at 36, I will go visit my older sister in Orlando. And, like, we'll be at her apartment. And I will walk into the room. She'll be sitting on the couch watching TV. And I will legitimately crawl into her lap. And just like sit there and like hold onto her like I'm some tiny child, and like that's our love language. I miss seeing my friend Kat, whose love, like nobody has touch as a love language like she does. Like she is so wonderful and so dear to me. But we would walk down the street holding hands because she just wants to like hold on to people so badly and just like. And I love that about her. Like that's a level that I wish I could be in public with all the time. And she just is, and it makes me so happy. Every time I see her, we're constantly like, we could literally be standing shoulder to shoulder. Like if she was here with you, like with me talking to you, she would literally be sitting here with like wrapped around my arm and like snuggled in, because that's just who she is. And it makes my heart sing whenever somebody is like that. Like I miss hugging and touching and just like being able to be a human being, because that's what we are. Like we are pack animals at heart.
Mm-hmm.
And like no one is supposed to be a lone wolf. Like that's why people get sad and, you know, bomb buildings and do stupid shit like that. But like, yes, I do. I give Primo hugs.
You really do. You give amazing hugs.
So do you. And that's why I love hugging you. Because hugging somebody who doesn't like to get hugged or doesn't give is like, I don't care. I'm just going to give you a good hug too. But when two people who have good hugging abilities, they meet, it's a magical moment. Like it's like the birth of a fairy. Like fairies are birth of a child's first laugh, and at every great hug. Like we are repopulating Neverland. Like it is unbelievable. It makes me so happy. But yeah, no, I miss Saturdays. I miss
so much.
I miss seeing you guys. I miss sitting in the audience and playing on my phone. Mm-hmm. I miss laughing. God, I miss laughing with you guys so much. I miss Bibiani. Like shouting out inappropriate things at inappropriate times during a match. I miss watching Harloff's eye twitch whenever he would do that. God. I miss it. I miss it so much. God, guys, please stay at home. Wear your mask.
Yeah,
Let's get back to a place where we can safely go out and be around people, because this is legitimately killing me.
It's killing my brain and body have both turned to mush.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just barely a person anymore.
Yeah. There have been so many mornings where I wake up and I'm like, I'm just going to go back to sleep because nothing matters. Like, I have nothing to do today. I can watch a movie. And like, now that I know I'm in the singles tournament, I'm like, I should probably start studying.
Sure.
So guys, if you have questions, you know, trivia questions for me, I'll open my DMs, just send them to me. Like, it'll help. It'll probably help me, you know, rev that engine again. But like, it's to the point where I'm just like, I just don't, like, things don't matter anymore. And that is like a very dangerous sign of depression.
Yeah. Where you wake up every morning and your first thought is, fuck it.
Yeah. Why do I have to keep doing this again? Like, it's not good. But like, if it gets to a serious level, guys, please reach out to anybody. Like, we will all be there to help you. And it's a really scary time for that. Like, I have anxiety and depression, and
same.
You know, thank God weed is legal in California, because I hit up. Do you have a favorite dispensary?
There is a place nearby, right on Cahuenga here, called the Kind Center that's good but kind of expensive. I usually just piggyback on my roommate's delivery service.
Dude, I highly recommend, if you want to go out for a little bit of a drive, there's a place just north of Burbank Airport called Roots. It's where I sent Ellis.
Okay.
When he wanted to repay us for letting him use our Wii, he repaid it with weed, which was amazing. So he bought some edibles and like started going back, because they have like CBD and pot infused like sodas. Like, their selection there is amazing. They also have like happy hours. Like, everything is like discounted until like 10 a.m. and then from like 4 to 6 or something like that. Like, it's a really, really, really good place. And I love them. Yes. Thank you, Dylan. Dylan, you're the best. Guys, if you are struggling with depression or suicidal thinking, please reach out to somebody. Here's the hotline. It's a really big deal, because there are days, and especially like, to get a little bit personal in my life right now, the time between, this is a really delicate emotional time for me, because between Father's Day and July 6th, so there's Father's Day, and then July 6th is the day that my dad passed away. And so because it's so close, it's just a lot of like dad time.
Yeah.
So it gets really like everything comes to the surface. I'm very easily like set off by like a memory or a picture or anything. So it gets really difficult. And I like to pay homage by watching like his favorite movies, and like things that like we used to do together. I like to kind of revisit and just kind of like remember him in that way. But it does get really, really difficult. So last year, Janine came down and spent like 24 hours with me. We got so drunk on the night of the 5th. Like, I think we went to bed at like 6 a.m. And then she just like sat in bed with me the next day while we watched. We started marathoning. We started marathoning Dawson's Creek.
Oh boy.
Because we had gotten into the discussion that like she doesn't have the copies that have the original sound or the original theme song by what's her face, Miss Cole. I went away for life yeah. So like, apparently her copies didn't have that, and I'm like, well, mine do. So we started watching it, and then we got to like, it was perfect. We got to the episode where Mitch dies, and like she just sat there with me, and just like it was a really like hard day, and it sucked, but she was there, and that's awesome. What friends are for.
Yeah,
that's you reach out.
I was having a really like difficult day a couple days ago, and just called my best friend just to like shoot the shit about nothing for a couple hours, because it's just like you just need like people are how you get through that shit, is by just leaning on the people that know you and know you best and are there for you. Like, also thank you, Dylan, for posting that hotline.
Yes.
Because as somebody whose life has been saved by a suicide hotline before, they're great. They need to exist, and people should use them.
And it should not be shameful to call them and reach out, because God, I would rather get a call at 4 o'clock in the morning with somebody crying than to wake up to a call at 6 a.m. to somebody crying telling me that they've passed.
Yeah.
So reach out, guys. Yes, thank you, Camshaft. Camshaft, I can always count on you. Wait, where'd you go? Yes, it is Paula Cole. I was like, it's Miss Cole, something. She'll never be asked in Showdown, so it's fine. Aw, sweet. Yes, we do. We love him. Wait, what? Your best friend is 102 years old? That's so old. Like,
that's wild.
Like, that's like, think of what they lived through.
My grandfather is having 100th birthday next month, except he's not actually 100. He's turning 96, but as far as like legally, he's registered as 100 for some reason. Like he fudged the numbers when he came over to America or something.
Made himself older?
I guess. I don't like. Yeah. So he's turning 100.
A 3 got misread as an 8. That's interesting.
Well, I mean, that's also how we ended up with the last name Zipper. Was one of those classic Ellis Island fuck ups. His last name in Poland was Sipper, Tsipper, and then it was just Zipper. Close enough.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Which makes me wonder, like, how did Silvestrini get through? Like,
yeah.
Like, there had to have been mob ties. Like, that paperwork had to have been done beforehand. Like, that's crazy.
You have a good last name, though. It, like, rolls off the Silvestrini. It just, like, I don't know. It's fun to say.
Yeah, it's always fun when, like, because you know when people speak other languages, because they're the ones who tend to pronounce my last name correctly. Whereas anybody who just speaks English is like, oh, Silvestrini. And I'm like, no. There's no R in the first part. Just
how dare
look
you?
At it again. It's one of those like reading comprehensions. Like, let's just figure this out. I mean, for the first, it was actually really sweet because the first, like, I think 3 or 4 matches, I think Ellis pronounced my last name different each time. I was just like, I give up. At this point, I just don't care. And then he finally got it, and I like came out and I was like, yay! Congrats! You know how to say my last name after being my friend for 6 months.
He got there. That's what matters. He got there.
He did, and he's wonderful, and we're friends now, and that's all that matters. All right, I'm gonna do one quick Streamlabs check, guys. If you have anything, get in the next like 3 or 4 minutes. Oh, somebody else did, I think. Okay, so we have a donation from the French Taunter that says, "What a great conversation between two of my favorite competitors. Good luck on your upcoming matches. Cheers." No question. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, love that name, the French Taunter. Love a good Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference.
You know what's funny? I never grew up with Monty Python
Really?
in my house. Yeah, I don't understand why.
It was like the thing that shaped my sense of humor was Monty Python movies.
Now, see, I grew up with Abbott and Costello. Oh, excuse me. I grew up with Abbott and Costello, but not Monty Python.
Interesting.
And I think that there's like a one or the other kind of thing.
Yeah, I can see
like
that.
It's very much like Marvel versus DC, like back in the day, you know, like I don't know. I it's one of those things that, like, I understand the humor behind it, but like because I didn't grow up with it, I don't have that like that emotional attachment to it. So I'm like, yeah, they're funny, but like
Sure.
I'm not going to quote it inside and out. Whereas like you give me, you know, Young Frankenstein and I will quote that till the day is done.
It's like what's that quote that the golden age of science fiction is 9? Like,
yeah,
the things you love are determined so strongly by the age you are when you see them, and the things that just like rewire your brain where you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah. What was your oh shit movie?
Holy Grail was up there. Oh, you know what? Memento was one of them too. When I was like 12 and I saw Memento and Adaptation. Adaptation was one of the first like super meta things I'd ever seen, and I was like, movies can do that? Yeah. So for comedy, it was probably Holy Grail, though. Holy Grail or Time Bandits. I watched Time Bandits so often as a child. Like,
I love that movie.
It's so good. It's so weird. How about you? What was the one that you saw and you were like, oh, fuck, movies?
I was so pretentious in my early teens. Like so pretentious. I saw American Beauty in theaters probably about 15 times. And I loved that movie. Now because I grew up reading and like talking to my parents and mainly my dad about like the books that I was reading. Like I was a very analytical child. Still am, to the point where like I remember in my freshman year of high school, my teacher, Deirdre, we were reading The Great Gatsby, and we went in and did character profiles, and we went through and talked about like the use of color for characters. And that, I'm not joking, has never left my mentality. Like, I love the use of symbolism and colors and,
oh yeah,
you know, the use of wardrobe and setting and like how a character speaks and the use of dictation and terminology and it's so telling. Like you can like because of what I went through as a reader and because of like what I went through in school, especially for that one class. With Deirdre, and I need to find her because I need to thank her because that has changed my life. But because of that, I can watch movies in a completely different way than other people because I can literally find different things that characters do that point out exactly and tell you exactly who they are. Like yeah. I remember watching Frozen with like my cast from Beauty and the Beast. And I was the only one not shocked when Hans ended up being the bad guy because, of course, he was the bad guy.
Yeah,
he wore gloves, and gloves are a very like private thing. And so it was it's one of those things. I was like, of course, he's the bad guy. Like, did you not see this coming? Like I know it's like fantastical and beautiful and wonderful, but like you need to pay attention to the story and like the characters and like what's being physically presented in front of you and like not be distracted by the swirly twirly, you know, snowflakes that are around you, which are phenomenally animated. But like, yeah, I just remember viewing that. And so I remember watching American Beauty and just being like, this is so beautifully told. And I mean, what girl didn't want Shane to live next door to her with those beautiful blue eyes under those dark,
crazy Wes Bentley eyes?
Oh, Wes Bentley, thank you, not Shane. Wes Bentley with like those, those dark hair, like constantly in his eyes. He's the bachelor with a soul of gold. Like,
and like, yeah, tell me about that plastic bag, Wes. Tell me about that plastic bag.
Just tell it again. Tell me again. But like the whole story was just beautiful. Like not just focusing on that storyline, but like it's still like to the point where my sister and I will quote something from that movie that nobody understands. You've seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mira Sorvino plays her best friend, the daughter's best friend, and so they're like, she's the daughter tries to like walk home with Wes Bentley, and Mira Sorvino pulls up in her car to offer her a ride. She's like, "No, I think I'm gonna walk," and she goes, "Walk?" But that's like a mile, and so. My sister and I, every time there's like a distance, we're like, oh, but that's like a mile. And it's like a thing for us.
I love that.
And I don't know how she latched onto it, but I latched onto it because I watched it so many times because I took advantage of the fact that my older sister worked at the movie theater and her managers loved me. And I would literally just walk into whatever movie I wanted and just like get free popcorn and sit down because
I think everybody
that's amazing.
Has the movie quote or two that is like a part of their lexicon that nobody around them, that everybody is always like, what? Like anytime, because of the movie The Fifth Element, anytime I need someone to turn lights on, I yell, Aziz, lights! And nobody ever appreciates it, and it makes me very sad.
But when somebody does recognize it, that's when you know you have a friend for life.
Right.
Because I am like that with the movie Out Cold, which is why I know that Ash Crossan and I will always have a connection. Because she loves that movie just as much, if not maybe more than I do, which is saying a lot. Because I love that movie. That movie is so stupid and fun and funny that like we were in a bar one time and I started going, King of the Mountain. I say King of the Mountain. King of the Mountain. I say King of the Mountain. And somebody started singing it with me. And I was like, yes!
You're like, friend, you're my friend now.
Literally left my group of friends to go over and talk to this guy and his friends. And I was like, I talked to the friends and I was like, do you understand how cool this guy is? Like, he's awesome. Like, motherfuckers get in line. Like I will use that line so often, or no regrets. That's my motto. That and everyone Wang Chung tonight. Like, it's so stupid and so wonderful. And the fact that it's like it's very, very, very loosely based off of Casablanca just makes it that much better because Casablanca is such a beautiful and wonderful, like highbrow movie. And this movie is the complete opposite, but still has the same themes and pays tribute to it in so many weird ways that it's just like, plus it's Zach Galifianakis, like at his best.
That guy.
It's so good.
Yeah, okay. I love finding out what people's like weird movie quote is that they just like latched onto, because everyone has one. Everyone has one that they say all the time that nobody ever knows they're quoting something, and you're just like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Somebody complimented me at a party one time, and I go, "Thank you, doctor." And somebody was like, "Did you just quote Young Frankenstein?" I'm like, you bet your ass I did.
Of course I did.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the beginning of that response is, "What knockers?" Thank you, doctor. So, God bless that movie, guys. If you haven't seen Young Frankenstein, please go watch it. If you like monster movies or Mel Brooks, just comedy in general, like
that movie's amazing.
Please go watch it. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but if it's not, I'll put it in a Dropbox and share it, because I have almost every movie I've ever seen on my hard drive.
Really? That's cool.
I mean, I had to with traveling so much.
Oh yeah.
You can't travel,
It is only streaming on Stars.
Stars. Okay, so if you have Amazon Prime. You can join for a week for free, I think. If you don't want to do that, message me and I will make sure you get to watch it. I literally watch it every Halloween without fail.
That's awesome.
I love that movie so much.
So
it's
good.
So good.
Funny. It's so funny. The other one that I think I quote obnoxiously the most is Wet Hot American Summer. I quote that movie way too much. The moment where David Hyde Pierce's character, where he says, "You could say we're all passengers on Starship Earth," and the kid goes, "When? When could we say that?" And he goes, "Anytime. Dinner? Literally anytime." So anytime someone's like, "What time are you free on Thursday?" Literally anytime.
Anytime. I mean, to be fair, that's true right this second.
That's also always.
We're all free all of the fucking time.
Anytime.
Like, it's so funny. So Eric, I think you know this, but for everybody who's watching or listening, so I wanted to get ahead of the game and like book July into August and just like make sure that I got everybody in. So I sent out a whole bunch of like requests because I'm like, I need to talk to you about this. I also miss your face. Let's hang out, whatever. And there have been, I'm like, I literally had a response prepared to be like, and don't act like you have anything you're doing. Like, like, if you say no, it better be because that's when I put the kids down to bed, or I'm actually confirmed for this show.
Yeah.
Those are the only two reasons that you get to say no at this point to being on a show. It's so funny. Or, I mean, if Kaiser's still listening, Kaiser was actually working. I mean, he had a legit excuse, but like very, very few people get to use that line.
Working. I've seen what Kaiser's like when he's working.
Oh my god, how much do you want to steal Piggy Smalls for like
Oh my god. That pig is so cute. I can't even handle it.
Like, I just want to hang out with Piggy Smalls and Leia and Snickers one day and just like do nothing. That sounds amazing.
I would lose my mind.
I want those babies in my life right now. I think I emailed, or I think I texted Andrew during like one of his shows, and like he had Snickers up, and I literally like, instead of posting like in the live chat, I just text him and I was like, "Bring Snickers back!" like in all caps.
The people demand Snickers.
And then I realized that I posted it, like that I like texted him instead of like posting it in the chat, and then I like posted it in the chat, and I was like, "Sorry for texting you."
That dog is so cute.
Oh my god, Snickers is the best. He's such a snuggle bug too. Oh my god, I got to watch him one day, and I was like,
do the three of you, do you guys have a pet of any kind at the apartment, or no?
Does Brandon count?
Yeah, sure.
No, we don't have any pets. Yeah, I wish.
Because Andreko has a dog, and having a dog here through all this has been such a lifesaver. Like,
he steals?
He is very tiny, so you probably could pretty easily steal him. Frederick, he's very little.
Where is this dog?
He's probably in Mark's room right now.
Mark! Give me the dog!
Go outside and demand, the people demand Frederick.
Just me. I just want... I also miss seeing Andreko, because, like, dear God, there is nobody as honest as Andreko. I don't like that man is so upfront. He is you get what you see with him.
That's real.
Phenomenal. And I miss our drunken droolings over Henry Cavill.
He doesn't even have to be. I mean, you don't have to be drunk to do that, you know.
No, but we always were. You don't have to be. I mean,
but it doesn't hurt.
The man is stunning, beautiful, and brings his mom to awards shows. Like, go fuck yourself. God damn it.
How dare you?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, Snickers or PJ? Wait, which of PJ's dogs? Because he has two. He has Mabel and Dipper.
But they're both corgis, which makes them amazing.
They are, and I was the one who drove out to Arizona with him when they got him. So they have imprinted mommy upon me. So whenever I show up, they listen to me, which is hilarious.
That's adorable.
I miss those dogs so much. Mabel's a bit of a handful. Snickers a little more laid back, but he's also bigger, but she's an alpha. So I don't know. But Snickers Snickers is like, he's just a big dog that just wants to like do nothing but snuggle.
Mm-hmm.
Like
those are the best dogs. Giant dogs that think they're lap dogs are my favorite thing in the world. My mom has an obese chocolate lab named Whiskey that I'm obsessed with.
Oh my God, you showed me pictures, and I want to snuggle that dog so badly.
He's the best.
There was a video that some guy posted on YouTube, and it was like the world's largest lap dog, and it's literally this guy who's like 6'3", 6'4", laying on a couch, and it's like the camera is shooting from this angle, and he goes, "All right, guys, it's time to see the world's largest lap dog," and he goes, "Come here, Dozer, come here," and this like 150-pound Saint Bernard jumps on top of him and like covers him, and his head is like this big, like after the floof. And I was just like, oh my God, that dog is so beautiful. Also, the boy was cute. I was like, do you come as a package deal? Because I'm in for that. That sounds amazing. Like, honestly, like it was always a big joke with my family that like if somebody came into our neighborhood when I was a kid and was like, have you seen my puppy? And I'm like, you have puppies? I would hop in there.
Follow them anywhere.
Like, instantly. Yeah, I'd be like, let's find your dog, and then I'm stealing it. Like I'm still that way. I'm 36 and I will still hop in someone's van if they have puppies. It's cool. I can take care of myself and then steal the dogs. It's fine.
Yeah. My favorite dog of all time is whatever dog is currently in front of me. Whatever dog I'm looking at is the best dog I've ever seen.
I will agree with that, but I think Leia is my favorite dog right now.
She's so good.
I got to meet her the first day that Riley and Julie brought her home because it was the day after Free for All last year. Because we were
right.
I think you guys had like left to go find a bathroom or something because I was still sitting in the stairwell secretly handing out drinks. And Julie was there and was showing me pictures of this puppy that they had found on the website that Jen helps run. I think that was the one. Oh no, it was the same rescue that Drew found Snickers through. And she's showing me pictures of this puppy, and she's like, yeah, she's so cute. And I'm like, Julie, that's your dog. And she goes, no, like I don't think Riley's ready for a new dog. Like Cal passed away in July, like all this, or September, I can't remember when he did. But it was sad, and it was very soon. And she goes, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, and then like Mark came over and he goes, look how cute she is. I'm like, Julie, that's your fucking dog. Like, don't try and joke. And they're like, well, yeah, but when we decide to like get a dog, like, we're going to need help. And I'm like, I volunteer as tribute. Like, I will spend time hanging out with your puppy while you guys are at work and like, I'll train it. And so like the next day I got a voicemail from Mark and he was like, so our family got bigger last night. And like initially in my head, I'm like, Julie's pregnant. And like in the voicemail, Mark's like, Julie's not pregnant. I'm like, damn it. And he goes, but it is something small, the very cold nose. And I was like, they got the puppy. And he's like, we would love for you to come over and see her and meet her. And I'm like, they got the dog. So like we all got to go over and meet her. And she was just amazing. Like, and then we got to like, James White was staying with me. And so the next day we like went and picked her up because they both had to work and they like didn't want to leave her home alone. So we're like hanging out with her and she's like, oh God, I love that dog. She is just the sweetest.
She's so floppy. She's so just like.
And she aggressively snuggling. Oh my God. I have a picture of her like with her head like jammed into my jaw. Oh my God. She's the best. Julie actually, she told me she hates bringing her to the studio without me being at the door to greet them because Leia will smell me or hear me and just tear off and like run off. And like Julie's almost gotten her shoulder dislocated a few times because like she's holding the leash and like Leia will run off towards me and I'm like, that's my girl. I love her so much.
So sweet.
Okay, guys, it's getting a little bit late, and I love this discussion that we're having. So if you have any Streamlabs, please get them in the next like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, let us know. We'll keep talking for a little bit, and then we'll close out in my typical fashion. I love how each show is just getting longer and longer, and you guys are hanging out, and I'm loving this, guys. You're just the best.
I'm around. I'm not. It's like everyone's around. Where no one's doing anything, like you said.
I know, but like the conversation. I mean, it also happens to be like the longer we go without seeing each other, I think the longer the conversations are going to go because we haven't been able to talk in so long.
Yeah, that's also real.
But yeah, no, I love seeing you and getting to talk with you. It just makes my heart happy. I just cannot wait. I know. I want everybody to be safe and healthy and happy. And I just want everybody to stop being fucking stupid so I can hug my favorite people again. Like, that's all I want. I want to hug people. Like, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
so bad.
Yeah. Supporters were giving Riley and Julie Cal gifts at the free for all. Cal with K. Yeah, Cal is the best. I got to watch Cal before.
He was so good.
Yeah, there was that episode of Collider Live where Riley kept running in and out of the room, and finally Riley like came in, and Christian was like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, dude, what?" He's like, they're doing the place. So Mark and Julie just moved out of their place into a new place, which I'm so happy about because this old place they lived in was awful and would do like fire drills, like fire alarms, like randomly, and like give out like less than 12 hours notice or like the alarms would just go off. And it was like a building that had a lot of like Airbnbs, so like a lot of things weren't being it was ridiculous. Anyway,
that sounds awful.
But that day they were doing fire alarm testing, and like Cal was losing his mind, and like Julie had to leave for work, and like Riley was at the studio, literally in the middle of live, and like losing his mind because he can't leave, and like Julie has to leave, and like they can't leave Cal by themselves. And I was like at home on a day off, so I like text Riley, and I was like, I can watch Cal today, like no problem. Like, do you want me to come by the studio and pick up keys, or do you want to go and pick up Cal and bring him to the studio and I can take him? Because he was like, I can't have him here. And he goes, if you can come pick up the keys. And so like Riley came back in, and like as soon as I got off the phone with him, I like hopped in my car and like drove to the studio to Collider, and he like apparently went back on live and was like, someone's taking care of it, it's all gonna be fine. And then I got to watch Cal for like 3.5 hours, and we got to snuggle, and we got to be best friends, and it made me so happy. And he's the best boy ever. I love him. He was so sweet. He was such a good boy. Oh, dogs are literally the best thing about humanity.
We truly don't deserve them.
We don't at all. Like, honestly, my biggest wish is if there is oh my god, not rehabilitation, reincarnation. I want to come back as a dog and just like lay around and get my belly rubbed and just love on people. That's all I want to do.
It sounds like the best. Being a dog seems like the best. It's like, also, especially right now, dogs are the only, like, we're having a terrible time being in quarantine, but dogs are fucking loving this. They're like, this is amazing.
Like, you're always here. And
yeah.
Like, the fuck out of my house.
Yeah. 100%. The cats are like, when are you going to work?
All the time. Who fired you?
Oh, someone in the chat just asked us about our top 5 dog movies.
Oh, God.
Man.
Okay. So favorite or best? Because there's a distinction.
There is. And are we just focusing on the dogs? Because as opposed to like best movies, or like the dog in the movie is amazing. Because like the artist is good, but the dog in the artist is the fucking best.
True. I will say this. I used because like I said, I am so emotionally delicate, I guess. That watching a dog's journey and a dog's purpose were completely outside of the realm of possibility for me because I knew that I would just be an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
So when Cal passed, I literally used that as an excuse to be like, okay, well, I'm in this emotional place already. But Star says either. Okay. But I use that as a reason to go and watch those movies because
You're
I was already there emotionally.
Yeah.
And those movies are really good. I will say that A Dog's Journey, I think, is the one that starts off with like the dog being reincarnated over and over again, and there are some really fucked up ways that dog dies, and it is not okay.
That sounds brutal. There's this.
Ooh.
I think it's a Hungarian movie. This movie called White God that is basically Planet of the Apes but with dogs. This dog and his little girl are separated, and then in order to get back to her, he leads a dog uprising and gets vengeance on everyone that was awful to him while reuniting with this little girl. So you have to if you can't watch bad things,
my favorite movie of all time.
But here's the thing: the first half of the movie is a lot of bad things happening to dogs, and it's rough to get through. And then in the second half, you watch the dog get vengeance.
Is this like live action or?
It's live action, and it's the record for the most trained dogs on screen ever. There's hundreds of dogs. Oh. It's wild.
Ooh, that sounds really, really emotional for me, but I feel like I want to see that. I mean, Old Yeller is a timeless classic, even though he meets a very terrible, terrible end. White Fang, I watched as a child fucking over and over and over again because there was nothing I wanted more than to go out into the wild and befriend a wolf. Like, you can ask my parents. We had a park like 2.5 blocks away that, I mean, this is the early 90s, so don't get mad. That they would let us walk to by ourselves, and like there was a bridge over the creek that we weren't supposed to go past, but I did because I would pretend that I was, lost in the wilds. And then if anybody's dog was like, that was like the place where like you could take your dog and like let him off leash, and they could like run around a little bit, and they could like go down the hill, like go down the embankment, like into the creek, and like roll around and be a dog, like without anybody else bothering you. But if I went down there and there's somebody's dog was off leash, like I would just claim him as my own and pretend that we were like lost in the wild together. It was really fun. It was like the only thing I ever imagined as a child. I didn't really have that great of imagination.
Really?
Yeah, I never like had imaginary friends or like played pretend to my recollection. Like, Mom, if you're still listening, you can chime in. But yeah, it was like I loved other people's dogs. I just like literally I was like 5 and like running up to Rottweilers and being like, "Puppy!" And my parents are like, "No!" They're like, "Stop it!" I'm like, "My puppy." They're like, "That's a dog." I'm like, "No, that's a puppy."
It's a puppy.
If I can make it roll on its back and show me its belly, it's a puppy.
It's a puppy.
It's a puppy. I love puppies. Dogs are the best. What else? Oh,
this is a dog show now. This is a show where you have guests on to talk about dogs.
Yeah. What was the one? Oh my god.
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound
is the classic.
Oh, when he like lays down and tells Chase to go on without him, like still to this day.
Forget
tears. It. Oh my god, yes. Calvin and Hobbes. I have 2 Calvin and Hobbes tattoos on me. And because I grew up reading Calvin and Hobbes with my dad on Sunday afternoons, it was like our thing. And it was really special. And then like as I grew up, I realized the intellectual depth about Calvin and Hobbes, the fact that they were named Calvin and Hobbes from the
after the philosophers.
The philosophers, yeah. Like it's so fantastic, and there's such imagination there, and I find myself going back to Calvin and Hobbes. Like it's so deep emotionally.
Calvin and Hobbes
like such a surface level just yucks.
Yeah, that's another one that probably rewired my brain a little bit as far as like my sense of humor. Like reading a lot of Calvin and Hobbes as a kid shaped me for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have a tattoo of Calvin with it's on my ankle, so I can't show it without like literally doing a headstand. I also haven't shaved my legs because yay, quarantine!
Quarantine!
Yay! But I have a tattoo of Calvin remember when he built like just like a field of tiny snowmen, and then he
Yeah.
just like there's a panel where he like is surrounded by the tiny snowman and just looks into the lens and is like, hey. Like I have that as a tattoo.
That's awesome.
And then I have the tattoo of Calvin dressed as Hobbes and Hobbes dressed as Calvin. Just as kind of like a nod. Like I was also like 19 when I got it, and it was just like a cute little nod to like, you know, not being sure of who you are and presenting a false front.
Yeah.
But it's also a really cute tattoo. I really love it.
Well, there you go. Can I ask how many tattoos do you have?
Pieces, I don't know. I have over 250 hours. I have
Wild. That's awesome.
Yeah. I only have one band tattoo, and it's of a band that nobody has ever heard of, but they deserve all of the recognition in the world. I literally saw them 11 times within the first 12 months of me meeting them, and they're amazing. The band name is Vendetta Red, and they're like a screamo band based out of Seattle, and they just have amazing vocals. Like Zach is fantastic, and the lyrics are just so beautifully like kind of gothically written. They're really, really, really good. Then they had he had a not a side project, but like a spin-off band called Scissor Sisters that are amazing. I also have a collection of Friday the 13th tattoos that I absolutely love. Today is also the like 6th anniversary of me getting one of my calf tattoos, because I have Esmeralda and Consuela. I have named them. One is Dia de los Muertos pinup, and the other is Gypsy Queen. And one looks towards the future and one reminisces on the past.
I like that.
Yeah, they're my. I think they're my favorite tattoos, because I just absolutely love the artwork that got done by them, and I got them done in DC. I've also gotten tattoos from like all over the US. I have yet to get an international tattoo. I'm dying to get an international tattoo, even though I've been like 7 different countries over in like the UK and Europe. I love that place. What else do I have? Oh, my back done. I have my nerd half sleeve. So I've got Circle Gallifreyan.
Awesome.
That is, and the Circle Gallifreyan is a quote from Firefly, and it says, "I am a leaf on the wind, watch as I soar."
Oh, and then trying to make me sad.
I know, right, dude. I mean, Alan Tudyk is like one of my favorite gingers in the entire world. I love him so dearly. Like, I will quote his lines from A Knight's Tale probably until the day is done. Like, pain. Lots of pain. I love him so much. And then I have like the Elvish, which is a quote from Supernatural. It says, "Family doesn't end in blood." I have the theory of relativity, which is the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time, which is why I think I used to joke about it being the reason why I looked so young, because I was traveling all the time. And I'm like, one day I'm going to wake up and just look like 75, and I'm actually like 40. I'm like waiting for that day. It's slowly starting to take its hold on me, but I think it's just stress and lack of actual physical movement.
Quarantine is doing that to all of us.
Yeah, I've got my memorial tattoos, which are the birth. So every month that every month has a flower of the month, and this is my memorial sleeve. So it's my dad, my dad's mom, my dad's dad, and my mom's dad. And then I have to have my mom's mom, who passed. I have yet to get her flower in, but she loved hummingbirds. So I kind of want to get her like over the shoulder, like feeding off of one of the flowers. Because
that's awesome.
I miss tattoos. Oh my God.
Yeah, if I was less consistently poor, I would have many more than I do. Like, because there are so many that I want. I only have the 2, but there's so many that are like, someday. Like,
what are your someday tattoos?
It's mostly just stuff from a bunch of other nerd shit. I just want like I want to basically be the like sum of all the things that have influenced me. So it's like I want to have the fucking Planet Express ship from Futurama somewhere. just a bunch of the main one that I really want next is, so my favorite show of all time is The Leftovers.
Okay.
And I really want, in the like font from the title card, it's like block letters with like the night sky and like stars and galaxies and stuff. I want to get the phrase "Let the mystery be" somewhere.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's probably next. But
yeah, well, I mean, you have "Don't Panic" very famously tattooed on your
right,
forearm.
I mean, everyone needs the reminder sometimes. So
I mean, I literally have and this, I mean, to be honest, this might be the most important tattoo I've ever gotten. You can barely see it. It says "By Grace," but it's very pale because I got this while I was working for Disney, and they have a no visible tattoos policy. And so because I literally had this tattoo that goes down to almost my elbow, like the crease of my elbow. So I knew I would have to cover to there no matter what. But I also wanted to get a tattoo, like "If by the grace of God go I." One of those things, like you just have to kind of forgive yourself a lot for things that you've done in the past, and for things maybe not being the person you may want to be at this moment in time. Like, you have to forgive yourself a lot in this life. So I got that facing me so that I could see it, but like in a color that's light enough that doesn't get noticed very often and doesn't necessarily need to be covered. And it's also a tattoo that, should I be in an area that older people coming to the show would see it and be like, "You have a tattoo?" I'd be like, "Yeah, it's by grace, it's a Bible passage." They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, that's beautiful."
yeah, that's how you get them.
Yeah. Although I did get felt up on my calves by a woman in her 90s at an airport. I was literally sitting in an airport. I was sitting there in a chair with like my right ankle on my left knee, just like open stance, like no care, like not sitting like a lady. And this woman was sitting next to me. And she looks over and sees the tattoo on my calf and just kind of reaches over and pets it. And she goes, "This is so beautiful." And like 9 times out of 10, my initial reaction is to ball my fist up and be like, "Did you
Don't
just
touch
fucking
me."
touch me?"
Yeah.
But she was like everyone's Nana, like she looked like she almost reminded me of Maggie Smith a little bit, who I have an unending love for. Dame. Oh my God, she's
the best.
She's just wonderful. She is my favorite part of Hook. She's just my heart. I just want to hug her, and like not hard because I'll probably snap her in half. She's wee. She's wee. She's so slight. But this woman reached over and started petting my tattoo, and then I was like, "Thank you." And then she saw my other tattoo, and she goes, "Stand up." And I'm like, "All right." So she's like looking at all my tattoos, and she's like lifting the back of my shirt to look at the angels on my back, and like it was so sweet. But she was like, "These are so beautiful." She goes, "Oh, my grandson has terrible tattoos." She's like, "They're just awful." And I'm like, "Well, thank you for liking mine." She was so sweet. All right, guys. If anybody,
we're at almost 3 hours.
Yeah, guys, we're closing in. I cannot believe we've been talking for 3 hours. I mean, I can, but like, guys, come on. Okay, so there's no more Streamlabs, so I'm gonna close this out with a quote from one of my favorite movies of all time, if not my favorite movie, is Almost Famous. And the last question that William asks is, do you have to be happy to write a love song? Do you have to be sad to write a sad song? What is it that you love about music?
Wow.
I know, I got deep there, sorry.
Yeah. I think, and this is true of most art, but the way it ties me to a time and a place and to a memory is definitely one of the biggest things for me, is that like people that aren't in my life anymore are still so like, they're still there in the songs that we listen to together and the songs that remind me of them. And the way that, as someone who doesn't really like taking pictures and has a hard time holding on to those things, like songs are like a snapshot for me. They're like a thing that just can pull me back.
I love that. I love that everybody has like a not completely different answer, but like a different response. Like it's very personal, and I love that. Well, thank you so much for hanging out for almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching for 3 hours. That's insane. Guys, I love you so much. You guys are the best. So real quick, next week, I have, and I think Zip, I think you might be excited about this too. I have an ex-champion of the Schmodown, Mr. Jason Inman, is going to be on next week at 7 p.m. So set those reminders. Come hang out. It's going to be a really good time. But thank you so much for coming and hanging out, Zip.
Of course.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And I will see you all next week. Please be careful, be safe, wear your masks, do whatever you can to encourage everybody else around you to do that so that we can get back to being able to Zip and I being able to hug. I just want that in my life. So if you guys can help do that, that's amazing. Thank you for your Streamlab questions. I love you guys so much. And now it's time for the awkward dance out. And